What is going on? Jimmy here with Jay-Z. We are the Turn 2 Terribles. What's going on? It is Monday, July 20th, 2026. We got a great show planned for you guys tonight. Lots of stuff to talk about. We did not have a show last week, so we have 2 weeks of racing to catch up on, including an entire week out at Ohio, uh, at Eldora for Kings Royal. Plus, we had Attica, Fremont. We had racing last week at Bedford, Lincoln, Clinton County, and then we got the rescheduled Weikert Memorial coming up this weekend, on top of other racing. Lincoln, Williams Grove, both racing. Excuse me. Lots and lots and lots to talk about. See you guys in the chat. Appreciate you all joining in with us live here. Matt Bird, Santos, Mandy, Magby, Troy Savage. Got to spend a lot of time with Troy, our Kiwi friend for past week, out there at Ohio. That was a good time. We'll be talking about that. Yeah, just what a week of racing. What a really 2 weeks of racing that we had. We're gonna talk all about it, man. Jay-Z, how you doing?
Man, I'm pumped. I'm happy to be back. That week off was much needed. A lot going on still with life and racing, but needed that week off. But that just makes me more excited for tonight.
Yeah, it doesn't slow down when you look at the schedule. That's for sure. Concrete King, look at Todd Fritz, Don Welty. What's going on? Appreciate you guys joining us in tonight. Concrete King, and we're gonna start there. We're gonna work in reverse order. Usually, you would start at like the latest point or the earliest point, however way you want to look at it, and work our way to the current. But we're gonna go backwards tonight, and we're gonna start with the Kings Royal on Saturday night out at Eldora Speedway, where back-to-back with Kings Royal victories for the Concrete King Anthony Macri over Rico Aber, Giovanni Selzy, Corey Day, Garrett Williamson, Buddy Kofoid, Logan Schuhart, Sheldon Hodenshield, Chris Wyndham, and Tanner Holmes, the top 10. $200,000 victory for Anthony Macri. Had to earn this one. It was a weird ending, to say the least. After it almost went green to checkered, all 40 laps, but Anthony Macri finds a way to get it done. He's only the second driver ever in the history of the Kings Royal, 43 years, to go back to back. The other one was Donnie Schatz, who did 3 in a row. So, man, I was there. What a fantastic time. But Jay-Z, what did you see from this race?
This felt like a race, and it felt like one of the races that I guess hindsight's 2020. It's easy to go back and look at it and say this felt like a war of like a battle of attrition a little bit, where Brent started in the front row and slid back. Garrett Williamson, didn't start with the lead, got the lead, lost the lead. Anthony fell back to third, got back to the front. Rico was on the charge. Gio made a hell of a run at the end, and it just felt like almost a race of strategy we don't see very often. I don't even think in the moment I thought that, but at the more like time has gone on, it felt very much like, Garrett used his stuff up a little bit. It was pretty evident when Anthony got by him. He had enough momentum. He was kind of running up there, but he got ate up on that last lap restart. So it was like, it just felt like a little bit of like, it used up his stuff, his tires a little bit. And, I don't know, Anthony kind of talked about pacing himself on Garrett, and Garrett was running such a good pace, but he obviously had something left, and even on that last restart, his car was still fast. So it just had that vibe of a strategy type race, with live traffic. Went for a long green flag run there, but the cream rose to the top, as they say. For the most part, look at the pluses here, the guys that had to come through the field and make their runs with good race cars. So but it was a crown jewel. It was one of those events where it wasn't easy. Brad Sweet didn't make the main event. David Gravel had to come from 20th. You had a lot of guys that this is what we see, and those cars still ended up near the front, but it really was a shakeup. And we see this every year in Knoxville, right? You still see some of the guys you expect to be at the front of these features and the way it starts, but inevitably one of the guys that we call a star of the sport doesn't have the perfect weekend. And while this event stood on its own, other than Corey Day getting to pick his time trial slot, it wasn't a guarantee, right? And weather played a role in this the last couple of days, and even to this one. A big factor through the day, the way it went. And you were there, Jimmy. I knew you sweated more than you got rained on. I know it was really hot, but damn, the rain really threw a wrench into this. Even it felt like it rained at race time. At some
It,
point,
yeah.
last couple of days, it got the race time, and here comes the rain. So it really kind of threw a wrench into this for a little bit. But Anthony Macri, man, I did not, the way the first couple nights went, the way everything was going, I didn't really have this. I didn't count him out. Like, hey, he's not going to do it. But it wasn't a guy that I was like, hey, until we got the front row, right? Until he got the front row. And then you're like, okay, well, he obviously has a chance. But he didn't have that like killer speed we've seen on tour, local, a ton of the week where some other guys did. But they got it right when it was most important to get it right.
Yeah, when he got into that sixth heat, he was on the front row of the sixth heat, which the way the Kings Royal format is if you win the sixth heat, you start on the pole of the feature, and fifth heat winner starts second. Just the way it is, everybody's in one flight of time trials. But when you saw him get into that sixth heat, you're like, man, he could really position himself to go back to back here, and that's exactly what he did. He led the first couple laps, fell back. Garrett Williamson looked awesome. He looked awesome all week there. There was one night where he wasn't very good, but he he was good. He's been good. He's been good for the past two months or so. I mean, you could say all year, but really the past 2 months or so, you could really see him start to get a little more speed and really become a factor. And he led 25 laps of this race. And if it not for this went 34, 35 green flag laps to start of the 40. And then you had, which I thought was a very weird caution for Chris Windom. I didn't understand it. I knew he was a little off the pace, but it was just for front wing. I didn't see him wreck, so maybe they saw something else that I didn't see in the cloud of dust. I don't know, but I thought it was very strange for that first caution to come out. Then, as Macri gets the lead, he gets the lead back before that point, but as he's coming to the checkered flag in turns 3 and 4, they throw another one for Spencer Bayston not being able to get all the way in. And then you have an open red, for a 1 lap overtime shootout, green, white, checkered. And which something that I didn't know, that I didn't realize for the Kings Row, that is every restart is double file. So it's not just like Anthony Macri had the lead at the end and it's all single file restarts. No, he had to really go and earn it. Not only did he lose the lead and had to go and get it back with guys like Rico Aber and Corey Day breathing down his neck and Garrett Williamson being as good as he was, but he had to go fight off double file restarts, which we know how double file restarts can go. It was a crazy ending. I felt a little bad for Garrett Williamson, but man, it was funny. You could hear the posse chants. You knew who was from PA in the grandstands when Macker was getting crowned and everything. It was funny early. I think it was one of the nights I went up to the bar and the bartender was asking me, "Hey, where are you from?" I said from PA, and he kind of like half rolled his eyes, like, "Man, I feel like everybody's from PA." You knew it that night. You knew it that night after Anthony Macri won. There was a lot of PA contingency there, and it was loud for him. It was really something. He deserves the credit. Like I said, he had Rico Abreu might have been the fastest guy on the track, and he's been maybe the best at Eldora for the past few years. Just consistently always there. Corey Day was fun to watch, by the way, and we'll talk about him a little bit more later. But to be able to hold him off, get the lead back after losing it early, just super impressive, and just goes to show why they're one of the top teams in the country in general. It's not just here in PA, and they go out on the road and they show it.
So, there's so many thoughts here as this all came up and the posse chant. Everyone loves to hate us, outside this area. Fans, drivers, pretty much everybody. Where were all the California regulars for this show? Is it too far? Where are all the California regulars at Knoxville every year? Where are all the California regulars? Why do we get shit on for not getting off the porch? I mean, is Ohio really too far? I don't know. That just hit me. Like, Where
I
are
would
they?
I would go a step beyond this. It was I say only 57 cars signed up for the Kings Royal, but we've seen 80, 90 cars for this not that long ago. And, I was watching Rodman rundown earlier today about this. You used to just see, even though Friday and Saturday aren't connected, you used to see like just because of the way the format is, you would get some Ohio regulars come out and be like, "Hey, you might be able to have a shot if you could time trial decent," and they'll enter for this. And 57 cars. It's not saying that it was a letdown by any means, but you make a good point. It was like kind of like, do they just can't feel like they can't compete or what?
Yeah, like, is it too fast? I mean, is it too high banked? Do you don't have a
Too
big enough
far.
set?
It's too
Not
expensive.
a not a
Maybe.
big enough.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what it is, but our guys made a way to figure out a way to get a couple of them out there, right? It wasn't a huge contingent, but clearly we brought the best of our best,
Yeah.
except Danny, except him.
Oh,
But I'm just kidding. I'm
This-
kidding.
eh,
Relax,
wait,
everyone.
we
He
do
had a
need to give a yeah
self-admittedly a shit week, but
yeah. Let's give a shout out to Chase Dietz too, who went quick time by 2/10. By the way, it was I guess we could talk about that a little bit early on. One flight of qualifying. That's just the way Kings Royal is. They moved everything up to 4:30 when it was still like 90 degrees out and sunny. So the track dried out real quick. They had it sealed over from the night before because, as we'll go back and talk about the night before, the forecasts for both days looked the same. We got a little bit of rain 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but it wasn't crazy. Then it looked like it was going to rain again later. And then, you know, Friday night was really, really heavy because of the rain and all the humidity. And it looked like it was going to be a repeat on Saturday. You're looking at the radar, the rain is coming, ends up breaking around the track. It was interesting. I couldn't believe it. It ended up because there's 3 cars left in time trials, and I'm way back to the camper. I'm like, it's about to rain in about 10 minutes. We're gonna sit here for a while, and especially seeing how the track blew off anyway by the end of time trials. You knew that they were probably gonna have to do something to whether rain was coming or not. They were gonna have to rework the track in some form. But two totally different, same forecast. They learned their lesson from the first night, and then the forecast doesn't pan out on the second night. I still thought they did a great job. you know, and they were very upfront. Hey, we're moving it up to 4:30, and then we will see how the rest of the night goes. It's going to depend on the weather, and we will update you as we go. And I thought they were very upfront and they did everything to make sure that the 30,000 or 25,000 people or whoever that were there got their money's worth and saw the entire Kings Royal at the best it could be. I think they did a good job of accomplishing that. But yeah, time after time trials, I mean, it was really hot, and then they had to rework the track, and the rain never really came, and it made for a very interesting, on top of the format, it made for an interesting way. But we still see here the cream kind of rises to the top. I talked about Rico multiple times being so good at Eldora. He almost comes away with a win here. Finishes on another podium, finishes second. I think he finished second or third last year as well. Buddy Kofoid, who's getting better at Eldora. I give him shit sometimes, but he's doing pretty good. Logan Schuart's really good there. Sheldon Hanshew's been they're all in the top 10 here. They all had a shot. So, um, yeah, I thought they did a great job getting everything in that they could, and it really still, no matter the format, the best teams are going to come out.
yeah, I agree. It was a lot of race cars, but this is what you hoped it would be, and it was a good race. I feel like a lot of people do that. Garrett Williamson, man, to not only would have been his first outlaw win, would have been his first, at the Kings Royal, was kind of pulling for him a little. Got to be honest, not
Yeah,
against Macri necessarily, just in general. And I think everyone was, honestly. I think
yeah,
like, you know, um, we made a couple people in our Facebook friends chat, eat some crow, mostly our buddy Billy Rowley. Said Garrett sucks at Eldora, and here we are, right? There were some people hyping him up a little bit. And listen, I think Garrett's been on a roll lately. I don't know if Eldora is like been a track where we all thought it would happen. Obviously it didn't, but like he was that close.
it's
Now
pretty close. Yeah,
he's been really close here the last few weeks, so they definitely have hit on something, and he's going to get his first win. It's happening soon, for sure. Um, man, no, all the way around, and we're going to go back and, there could be some final thoughts and things, and chat's going to bring it up. But where were the Outlaws? Other than Garrett Williamson here, has anybody seen the Outlaws? I think we need to put up a missing sign because they got their asses beat all week.
Yeah, they really
Like
did. I would
they
actually,
didn't
I
even,
would
they
say,
didn't even win Fremont or Attica.
I would say the best outlaw all week was probably Logan Schuhart. Because he finished second at Attica. He looked really good. He looked fast at Eldora almost every night. Sheldon Hansfield was also very good. I didn't realize. I know Sheldon has a big following, and I know he's from Ohio and everything, but I got the feeling that when he was up there, any one of those nights at Eldora, or even Attica, like any night that I was there, that if Hansfield would have had it, that place would have exploded.
Yeah,
Um, and he
absolutely.
was very good. He was very good.
Yeah, he's pretty good at Eldora, and the record stands. And I mean, any of those nights, it would have been cool to see him get a win. Honestly, like I'm not the biggest Sheldon fan. I'm not. I don't dislike him, but this is like a week for him at home. Like
Yeah.
any of those racetracks, it would have been cool to see him get a win for sure. But he did have a good week. I mean, he was there. Kofoid had some ups and downs, but Garrett Williamson and Sheldon, pretty good weeks all the way around for
Yeah.
the most part. I mean, it wasn't perfect by any means, but the other story here coming in is Brent Marks, right? Phenomenal week, picks up a win at Fremont, didn't run Attica, picks up a win at Eldora, and then starts in the front row of this one. And it sounds like, based on the social media post, that he kind of missed the setup and what he wanted to do. Just really wasn't a threat from this one from the beginning. Looked like just struggling for forward drive from the start. So still on a roll. I expect to see continued momentum for Brent and get back to points racing at high limit and keep climbing the hill here. But the other thing that stands out, the outlaw points. Gravel didn't have the greatest weekend of all time, and I think the outlaw portion was more than show up points, right? High limit was show up. Um,
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure it counted for points. So, there was a chance here with a big field like this to gain a lot of points, and they still didn't on gravel, even if he didn't have a great weekend. So, um, yeah, just all the way around, Tyler Courtney had a really good week. Did
Hmm.
really good bounce back, making me eat a little bit of crow here. Yeah, he didn't get the win, but I think they were struggling in a pretty bad way lately. I think it was pretty clear. So good weekend for Tyler Courtney. Not a good finish here for sure, but uh, yeah, I think Tyler Courtney's getting on the rebound. And the other one that impressed me was Justin Peck all week. That car has
Yeah.
some speed. He's been like Brent has his momentum and wins have kind of overshadowed Justin Peck's improvement lately. And that car has some speed. And I know that they've gone to Garrett engines. Sounds like they're running Garrett, and they're pretty happy with them. And man, they've been good lately. So I look for like Justin Peck and Brent, and Reitzel's still fast, Rico's fast. That high limit like battle the rest of the season is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, we'll look at both points probably later, but yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just gravel kind of had a down week everywhere. And yeah, he finishes 11th here, +9, not bad at all. For anybody else, we'd be saying, hey, it's pretty good, but for gravel, he was legitimately a non-factor all week long. It was very strange. Um, Another guy that was kind of Reitzel had a good Friday night, but other than that, he was kind of a guy that I was like, where is he? Um, he finishes 23rd here. Um, he had, like I said, he had a good Friday night. But otherwise, he was just kind of there, not really a factor to win ever, but um, yeah, like you said, Brent Marks, he starts on the front row of this one. Struggled, just kind of stayed in the top 10 for most of that race, and then it just right at the end, it just whatever he missed hard, um, and finishes 20th here. Um, yeah, couple somebody else that didn't make the feature here, but was super close and had an impressive week was Cam Smith. First time out of Eldora, man, he I think he only made one feature all week, but the point being is his first time out there, he looked really, really fast. He was in a transfer position for the Kings Royal for quite a bit of that B main, holding off guys like uh, it was Brady Bacon, Tyler Courtney. Who else was in that B main? Cole Macedo won, Aaron Reitzel. You know what I mean? So uh, he looked really, really good. He finishes just 1 or 2 spots out of the transfer for the Kings Royal in his first time there, but should not hang his head on that. He looked pretty fast.
Yeah, for sure. And I know they're obviously they go out there and they want more, but guys never seen the place before, right? They tried to go out earlier this year, got rained out. Walk into Kings Royal, high limit and World of Outlaw Kings Royal week, and for your first time is good for him. I mean, that's a tall task, and he definitely held his own.
Yeah. And like I said, shout out Chase Dietz. Yeah, finishes 24th here, but goes quick time. And, then with the way it kind of fell out, work on a reworked track for Heat 1, just was 1 spot out of transferring and ends up making it still, based off his time as he should. Him and David Gravel were the 2 transfers on just time. They were the top 2, and Dietz was 2/10 faster than the rest of the field. Going out after those guys, by the way, going out after David Gravel and some of those guys. He went out not like mid, but like I think he was like 13 or 14 cars in, like after a lot of really good cars went before him. So shout out Chase Dietz. He had a pretty solid week, getting better and better there every time.
Yeah, and that comes with time. We know the car's fast, right? So, there's speed in the race car, and they probably just need to get the combination between Chase getting comfortable at that place, knowing how to make speed, and then they probably have to do something a little bit different than what we do around here to the race car to get it all to come together, and that just takes laps, and that's what they've been doing here the last year or two. Knoxville and Eldora, getting a little bit of traveling in to get ready for these because there's going to be a time period here I think like next year is really a time where we need to go out and see Chase Dietz compete at the front of these fields. It's time, right, to go out and hey, we got it. It's under our belt. We know what we got to do. It's time to go do it. So, not taking anything away from his season for sure. He's going to come back and kick more ass.
Yeah.
And we got some big races coming up, which we're going to talk about. But no, it was good to see them go out there and make the trip.
A couple of comments here. EJ Shoemaker. Missed out on meeting you, Jimmy. Yeah, I missed out on meeting.
You went to Ohio and didn't meet EJ?
No, it was kind of tough. I mean, it was. I don't know. It was a week. But yeah, I meant to message him and see if we could meet up, and we didn't. I did meet up with some other people. Was in talks with some other people too, but it was just kind of hard. I ran randomly. I got to give a shout out, Mason Hannigan. I was walking. It was actually when. I was going back to my camper. I'm like, oh, it's about to rain. It's about to pour. I'm getting back to my camper. And he passed by me and I quick shook his hand and good to finally meet him in person.
Nice.
But yeah, there was a couple of people that I definitely missed out on meeting on, and I apologize.
A week wasn't long enough to meet.
Right. Being there for 4 or 5 days. Garrett had a really strong weekend at Eldora. Troy Savage, yeah, for sure. And Mandy even says Garrett Williamson first outlaw win is going to be super popular win no matter where and when it comes. He's been so close the past month. Matt Trace. First he says, better late than never, I guess. Good evening, gentlemen. And Jimmy, I don't know what that means. Okay.
I think it means he's late and you're not a gentleman.
I'm not a gentleman. Come on. And then
hey, let me ask you a question.
Yeah,
while we do that. If Garrett Williamson had won, this is a fun game to play sometimes, and I don't really like hypotheticals, but it's real. If Garrett Williamson won this race, would him winning this race and maybe this is for the fans too, him winning this versus Ryan Timms winning Knoxville last year, which one would have been the bigger surprise?
I think this.
Yeah, I do.
I think that's just because Ryan Timms was a regular at Knoxville, so he was already kind of a dark horse because he was already running there every week. Garrett Williamson's actually a Knoxville guy, not an Eldora guy. There's really not really an Eldora guy because they don't run like Knoxville does. So, yeah, I think this would have been much more surprising.
Yeah, I agree. For sure. But it was just one of those things where it's like people after the Knoxville Nationals were kind of like, well, I mean, he's really good there. He ran all these laps. It was all these things, but it was like nobody picked him at the beginning of the week to be, hey, there's your winner, right? So I
Hmm.
think it got a lot of publicity, and then even further, he went and doubled down, no pun intended, and won the Tuscarora 50. But I think like Garrett winning this race, I don't know if it would have gotten the same like national pub that
It
Tim's
should
winning
have.
Knoxville did, and it would be really unfair. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think sprint car fans that are followers and know, yeah, for sure. But I think nationally, it was kind of like, man, Ryan Timms won the damn Knoxville Nationals. I think Knoxville carries that weight. Maybe that's what it is. It's more like it's because it's Knoxville, no matter what. But man, Garrett winning this would have been certainly a bigger win, more of an upset or of an underdog than Ryan winning Knoxville, in my opinion.
Yeah. Matt Trace also points out Tanner Holmes made every A main he entered, which is Tanner's definitely been very impressive this year. He's better than what I thought he would be in that car. Um, just a notch or two up of what I expected from him, and he's been proving it in weeks like last week where he's showing he's a top 20 driver in the country for sure.
What's up, Jaden?
Jaden Wolf, what's going on? Ton Welty says gravel was last seen on a missing sign on the back of a chocolate milk carton. um, and Dave Smeltzer corrected me. It was sixth out in time trials. Thank you for correcting. I knew it was that there was a lot of really good cars. I think Brent, Gravel. I can't remember who won. There was a couple really good cars that went out ahead of him, and for him to now time them and then hold that time the rest of the way was pretty impressive. Santos says all the dictators coming out of the woodwork is insane. The 23-second or third time ever at that place to take time to build a notebook for the driver and the team. Agreed. And like I said, he still went quick time, raced well, just missed a transfer in his heat. On a faster track at that time. I think he had a pretty decent week. All right, let's go to Friday night, the night before, where Corey Day leads all 30 laps, gets to win over Aaron Reitzel, Garrett Williamson with a podium finish. Brady Bacon, who had a sneaky good week as well, even though he didn't make the feature on Saturday night. Rico Abreu, Sheldon Hansfield, David Gravel, Logan Stewart, Jason Persley, and Brock Searfoss with the top 10. This was ended actually Saturday morning. It was like 12:30 Saturday morning that this finally ended. But Corey Day with the night before win, $25,000. He was so fast all week there, super impressive. Fast track because of the weather. This got delayed. We ended up, having to run. But they got through one flight of time trials, had to go back for this and kind of restart the whole program to an extent later on after the rain came, and end up for one of those Eldora all-nighters you always hear about. But they did a pretty good job with it. It was fast. It was still racy. But Corey Day just did what he needed to do and went out and led all 30 laps and won this one.
There's guys in the sport that we call aliens, and we know Corey Day is one of them. But is there anybody that drives a race car harder than Corey Day all the time?
Yeah.
Kyle Larson? I mean, they're like identical. These two guys, the way they manipulate a race car, the things that they do that other people don't. Sometimes it bites them in the ass. We saw that this week. We'll get into it, but like this guy, dude, he just gets in a sprint car and it's the gnarliest of gnarly, and he just makes everyone look like they're not driving as hard, and it doesn't make any sense at all. And I'll never understand it, but damn, is it fun to watch?
Yeah, he was one. He could have had 3 wins. He could have swept the week. He had a win on Wednesday night. We'll talk about. Could have won on Thursday if he did not, as we talk about him running very hard, ran a little too hard and got into the fence, as we've seen him do sometimes. But that's, we talk about that a lot with like young drivers. You'd rather be telling them to drive it. You don't want to tell. You don't you don't want to have a driver that you have to tell it to drive it harder. You rather tell them they have to back it down. They have the speed then. You know what I mean? And Corey Day definitely has the speed. And he's a guy you got to realize like he's not really a guy, especially now with the NASCAR deal. He's not a guy that's running every weekend like the rest of these guys. He's more on like the Kyle Larson thing where he's spot starting in usually bigger fields, bigger races. So super impressive, man. He was so good there all week.
And it's amazing to me that 14 car, right? We saw Baston in it, we've seen other people in it, and it just doesn't go. It just doesn't go the same unless Corey Day's behind the wheel of it. Well, excuse me, the kid out in California obviously got a win in it, but like he's just different. He's just different. And look, he beat Aaron Reitzel here. It's 2 seconds on a fast racetrack.
Mhm.
Not like Garrett Williamson or not like Aaron Reisel doesn't know how to drive a race car hard. And
Right.
it's no disrespect to literally anybody else, but like he's just different, man. He's just built different and it's crazy to watch. It's fun to watch, to be honest with you. Like I enjoy watching Kyle Larson race a sprint car. It
It's
is
fun.
fun
It's so much
to
fun.
watch. So much fun to
Yeah.
watch. He just does things that are different. He finds a way to make a car go fast in the ways other guys aren't, who are like doing this for a living. They both do it this way, and they just ad lib it. It's just the craziest shit I've ever seen. Usually, when we see guys ad libbing, it's because they don't know what they're doing and it's not good. These guys do the opposite. They ad lib and they make it faster than everyone else doing the optimum shit, like the stuff you're supposed to be doing. They beat them doing it in a whole different way. It's crazy. And
Yeah.
and and this is a sort of a side topic. There's a lot of Kyle Larson hate this week on the internet, which is fine. I mean, he earned some of it, right? He
It's
was
normal.
not
Yeah.
he wasn't happy with himself, but I still go back to it. Like people, when we watch Corey Day and Kyle Larson get in a sprint car and race against the best of the best, and they do shit like this, and some of the things you see Kyle Larson do, you have to be like, you got to store it in your memory, and someday you're going to go, I remember when. This
Mhm.
is those moments of these guys. Like you don't have like they beat your favorite driver. They beat my favorite driver. But like I respect like they do it different and they come in and they don't have to care about points and they don't have to care about the equipment necessarily. I don't care about any of that shit at these kind of shows. This is the biggest of the big, the best of the best against everybody in the world. I don't give a shit. I just want to see the entertainment value, and it's there for me. Even if I'm not a Corey Day or Kyle Larson fan, I'm a fan of what they do behind the wheel as a talent. It's unbelievable. It's so much fun to watch.
Yeah. Corey Day does definitely have shades of there's a reason why he's kind of like a hand-picked guy for Larson, for NASCAR, for Hendrick, and why the comparisons are there. And you see it when you go watch him in a sprint car. And it's more evident to me every single time I watch him, and especially this past week because he looked like a younger Larson out there. Yeah, and same thing, stepping over the line a little too much and taking himself out of a win, but he's fast enough to go and win. This
And
one
and
started. Go ahead. Sorry.
and this hasn't changed. Remember, he came to Port Royal the first time and was banging
Right.
down the freaking wall
Yeah.
and blew up the right rear leading.
He could have had
Like,
2 wins at Port.
yeah, this shit hasn't changed, and it's so much fun that he hasn't like had to like adapt necessarily. Yeah, he's going to come out here trying to win these races, but like he's a young guy and he's been doing it this way for a couple years now. With he has some 410 experience, but if we go back and look at the starts this kid has in a 410 in his career versus some of these guys that we see every week,
Mm-hmm.
holy shit, it's so much fun. Sorry, go ahead.
So this one started with a huge wreck, and you got to feel bad for what happened here a little bit, but it ended up being this huge long cleanup where everybody pretty much that was involved in the wreck ends up coming back out. But on the initial start, now I watched an interview. I think it was Always Race Day that did it, um, with Brenham Crouch saying at first that he had a mud clot in his face and couldn't see and he was just trying to hold it straight. But then he said something about the motor. But either way, he got really slow going into turn 1. You're on a restart. Everybody's on kill. Carson Macedo gets into the back of him, and it's a big chain reaction of a bunch of places where guys have nowhere to go. Kerry Matson, the king of getting into other people's wrecks sometimes, also involved in it. Buddy Kofoid Buddy Kofoid went 4 tires up. He was like almost like side, like almost like his tires almost up on the catch fence and was able to land it and keep rolling. And Logan Short was right behind him, did the same thing. Um, Cy Lynch was also, I believe, in that wreck. Or no, sorry, Spencer Basin was, um, who had to take a provisional. Something I didn't. I hate with the provisionals. I'm fine with starting this many cars, but Spencer Basin was supposed to start like I don't know somewhere in the C main and didn't turn a lap in the C main and ends up getting to take a provisional. I don't love that part. I think you got to be able. I think you still got to go run your whatever race you got to run. You got to at least go take the start, and if you want to be able to take a provisional. But he ends up getting caught up in this by being back there. So it's almost like, was it worth taking the provisional? But just a big pile up. But with it being so big and so long, a lot of these guys were able to get, including Carson Macedo, who ends up finishing 14th here. Ends up being able to get back out there, and they worked on it the rest of the feature with some other cautions, and he was able to manage a 14th place finish.
Yeah, I mean, talk about like when we all first saw that rack on TV, we were like, "Holy shit!"
It was shades of last year a little bit, almost.
Yeah,
Not
like
quite as
what
violent,
is
but
about
pretty
that? Like
violent.
it was just this pause of like, oh no, you know what? Like it just had that vibe, it had that feeling, and thank goodness it wasn't. I mean, Kofoid could have just absolutely been like massively hurt. That car comes down and lands the wrong way from that high up. We're talking a whole different ball game about Buddy Kofoid, and thank goodness, like thank goodness that didn't happen. But yeah, I mean that top wing of Macedo's was just like absolutely shredded, just unbelievably shredded. So yeah, good recovery for for Macedo. Uh, but I mean, look at the attrition in this race. You know, and I know that not all these guys had to finish this race. If they weren't going to win this race, there was no benefit to the next day. So if they got what they got out of this deal, you can park this one. It didn't have an effect. I think I might have lost Jimmy. I don't know. He gone? Um, oh, here he is. He back. But yeah, no. Yeah, thankfully everybody was okay in this deal, and they were able to get ready for the next night. Kent, no audio there, bud. No mic. Nope.
How about now?
There you are.
Yes. Okay. All right. Sorry. I don't know what cable unplugged, but we're back. Battery says bad luck for Bill Baylog. Eldora does not like him at all. Yeah, he's had a couple rough years there. Pretty bad for him.
Bill Baylog doesn't wreck and like bend a tire, bend a wheel, break a front axle. Bill Baylog crashes with the best of them. And when this guy crashes, he figures out it's like Justin Whitall here. When that dude crashes, it's big. It don't matter how. When he crashes, it's big. And it happens unfortunately way too often in outdoor for Bill.
Yeah. Mandy says tinfoil hat time. Open red long enough for an outlawed car to get fixed. Love seeing guys like Thorsten helping out fixing it though. Yeah. I mean, you saw a bunch of them down there. That open red was long. There was a lot of stuff to clean up. And just, I think they just, by the time they got everybody in the work area, a lot of them had enough time to be able to get everything fixed, and they got everybody rolled back out, and there was some fluid and I think to clean up and all that. It was a pretty massive wreck, and I don't think they really held it or anything, the open red long enough, but I don't think they were rushing it either.
Well, here's something. Go to the final night again. So, Mandy, I'm gonna get rid of your tinfoil hat for you. see, yeah, okay. Carson Macedo.
Mm-hmm.
He stopped, right? He stopped. They threw the yellow,
No.
which turned into a red, the open red.
Oh
Wasn't
yeah,
it
you're right.
Carson?
Yep, you're right.
They sent him to the rear.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Because it was
If it
that.
was tinfoil hat time, they would have left him and give it a spot back because the yellow flag was out. He stops. They threw the open red for fuel. He got sent to the rear of the lead lap cars. So he only
Um,
passed two of them then.
yeah, exactly. And he was. I think. I wonder if he was start. I think he was stopping because he was either maybe running out of fuel,
He was out of
or
fuel.
he was out of fuel. They ended up opening it for an open red, but either way, they would have been able to get Baston back in there really quick and be able to get everybody re-racked and go. But then because Macedo stopped, that's what brought out the red. It was going to make them run extra caution laps, and it was going to take them to that limit where they couldn't finish. So, yeah, they ended up sending them to the back. I did still think, and going back to the final night, shout out to Chris Wyndham, still getting a top 10 in the Kings Royal after bringing out that yellow. And still being able to get back up to third. He started third, getting up to ninth, still back in the top 10 was still pretty impressive.
What did he win
Back
for ninth there? I can't see the dollars.
$8,000.
$8,000 for ninth. That's crazy though. Ninth in the Kings Royal, you get $8,000.
I mean, it's $6,000 to start. It's 35 for second, 25 for third, 20,000, 15, 10, then it's 9, and it goes down $500 pretty much from there until you get to 6,000 for 17. So not a bad payday, but yeah, like a top 10, you would think maybe would pay at least $10,000 for a big race. But that's, I mean, you're not far off there. You're $2,000 off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what, just again, like this influenced the decision that happened on Saturday, and why the track was so different from one night to the other, because people complained about how heavy the track was. Well, what can you do when the humidity was crazy? You saw a bunch of vapor trails. It's funny because the track was so heavy. Everybody that, at least on TV, and I chose to sat in turn 4, which is probably the worst spot you could probably sit in for dust. All week I sat there all week in the same spot. The night the dust was worse, the worst out of all 4 nights was this night, the heavy night, because everything was wet. You still got a shit ton of dust, even though the track was heavy and fast. You were still getting a lot of dust in the air, and it just stuck to everything, stuck and accumulated to the point where, it wasn't blowing off of everything. It was getting stuck to everything because everything was still so moist, and the air was so heavy, and it was the worst. My chairs were so covered, and it was the worst night for dust out of all 4 nights. Ironically enough, even though it was the heavy night.
Well, listen, I think, I don't know if I don't know if them sealing the track over and doing what they did for Saturday had anything to do with what this ended up Friday. I think they're two completely separate things.
Fair.
They
Yeah.
knew they
only
were
reason-
going to get more rain Saturday. So they said, "Hey,
Right.
we don't want to end up with heavy. We want to be able to try to do something.
it
So we
racing.
know that this is the only way, right?
Right.
They took it in their control. Why they didn't do that on Friday, I don't know. Right? Like I can't go into that, but I don't think they gave a shit really on Friday about like if it was slow or if it was fast. Like we want to get this in. These guys it's a practice night that we're going to pay them. Saturday's our day, right? And they did everything, tried to make the best decision that they could to give everybody a good racetrack for Saturday. That was racy. So, shout out Eldora. I will say that overall, I know we still haven't even gone backwards here to everything, but like the track was fantastic all week. I don't care if it was heavy, if it was slow, if it was slick, if it fell off big time because
The racing was
packed
great.
it in.
It didn't matter.
The bumps weren't there in 1 and 3 really. I mean, there was a little bit that upset the cars, but it was never enough that we end up with the issues that we had last year with all the people getting hurt, because it was all due to the bumps entering the corners. And the banking was great. You could run the top, you could run the bottom. You had guys doing a little bit of everything. It was just a really, 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 really nice job by Eldora making Eldora what we all want it to be. It was great. And I'm glad and happy, Jimmy, that your experience, your first time going, they had it right and that you got
Yeah.
to see what you got to see. Because
Yeah.
there's nothing better than going and seeing what you saw your first time, your first trip, and it was not a letdown. It was none of those things. So, was there any point at any of the nights that you were at Eldora that you left the racetrack going back to the camper and felt like it was a letdown?
Nope, not at all. Every
No,
night was awesome.
every night.
I loved everything they did all week. It's an experience out there if you haven't been able to do it, to the point where even like, don't get me wrong, my girlfriend, we go to a lot of races and stuff like that, but she almost like wants to go back. Like she really liked the place.
Nice.
Facilities fantastic. The whole event is great. The camping is spot on. It is awesome. Just it was great. But yeah, I can't say even on the heavy night, the racing was still good. You know what I mean? It was like that was like the worst night, quote unquote, for the racing, and it was still really good. It was still good, and then we ran till 1 o'clock in the morning, and nobody had a problem. Like it's just I don't know. It was great. Um, when they get back to Matt Trey says that's because you sit in the infield at the Grove. You aren't used to the dust, Jimmy. That's true. I sit at the infield every chance I get. I wouldn't say the whole reason is because of dust. I like just having space for myself. I don't like being crammed in a grandstand. Beer Hill would be a different story, obviously, because you have a little bit of space up there. Um, the dust really didn't bother me. I knew I was going to Ohio and it was gonna be dusty. It was just that night in particular, just because of how wet everything got from the rain. It was still heavy and everything just accumulated. It was so bad. That was like the worst. I remember going to Path Valley last year for the Speed Week show. I'm like, that's one of the dustiest I've been to a race in years. This was tenfold. Like it was so bad, and it didn't look that way. And it was the heavy night. Like I just thought that was funny. It was like it's the heavy night. You wouldn't expect it to be the dustiest, but it was pretty bad. And just because, like I said, because it accumulated with the moisture.
See, I would have fit in great. I should have gone along because I've been training for the last 2 years, being in a photography game, standing in line, standing like directly in the path of these race cars during hot laps and racing. I've been working for this moment, so Eldora is going to have to happen here soon.
Troy Savage said, "Yeah, turn four on night three was definitely a mess. I could vouch for that. He came over and sat next to me for that race, and we're just like, oh my god, it was awful. I had to take you needed like a shower immediately. Shout out Eldora, they have showers there, and they keep them 2 hours open 2 hours after the race. So if you didn't want to
No
use your
shit,
camper shower, if you didn't have a shower, that not only is it open from like 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., but they keep it open 2 hours after the race. So they were pretty much open 24 hours down at that point.
dude. A
Um,
shower at a campground? Oh,
I know,
buddy.
right?
At a racetrack yet? Like, okay, listen, camping and showering, yeah, like the showers at a campground and most are um less than great. But
Mhm.
having a shower at a racetrack campground is
Yeah.
legit. Like whenever I come up, if I come up and stay at Port Royal, right? Whether I sleep in my car, a tent that's too small for me, or your camper couch, all I want to do is find a shower. Like
Yep.
I need to take a shower. And that's great. Yeah, like I just give me somewhere with some water
Yep.
pouring from above me, and I'll live there. I don't care. I just give me a
It
shower
it's
every
a,
day.
it is an $8 shower. I think they moved it up. I think it was
I don't care. You
12,
could charge
but
me
that's
80.
yeah, that's fine. Like, and it's like a full
Wouldn't matter.
shower. You don't got to worry about conserving water or anything like that. Like, yeah. So shout out to them for doing that. And that campground is crazy. Like, just how many spots they have and how like it it was like comparable to like a place like Pocono with just in terms of how much camping that they have. Crazy. Um, yeah, so let's go to the Joker's jackpot on Thursday night. Um, the we're into the high going back to the high limit portion of the week, where Kyle Larson gets to win over Rico Abreu. Logan Schuart with a podium finish. Then it's Carson Macedo, Brent Marks, Tyler Courtney, Spencer Baston, Sean Hansfield, and Brady Bacon. Sorry, James McFadden, your top 10. Um, Kyle Larson, Rico Abreu, they battled all week. Guy not listed here that was it. Also a factor in this was Corey Day. Like I said, got into the wall a little bit. Um, and end up taking himself out there. Ends up finishing 23rd here. But Kyle Larson, man, I mean, just he was. You could move around all over the place. Him and Rico had the night before this in their feature, and then in this one, they just had great battles back and forth.
Need to take a break and stop.
Go ahead.
If you're watching this, I don't care if you're on X, you're on YouTube, you're on Facebook. Can you hit the like button for us?
Yes,
Just hit
please.
like. Just hit the
Hit
like.
that button.
We want to keep growing this, and that is one way that helps without us like spending dollars in marketing to grow this. So if you hit the like button, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, good job. I like that.
Hey, thanks, man. I just looked at it and like I liked it. I liked it for on Facebook, and there was 11 likes, and I know there's more than 11 people watching. I think.
There's
maybe
there
not.
are
There might
there's
be 12. I
no
don't
there
know.
are. I could see the viewers. We've been somewhere between
All
50
right.
and 80 live viewers at a time.
All
So
right. Well, we appreciate
bad.
all of you, but hit that like button. I appreciate it.
um
We appreciate it. And
I
you know who
felt
else
like
appreciates it? Karshner Logistics.
Karshner
Karshner Warehousing
Logistics.
Logistics. They love it. They appreciate it. We'll give them a shout out here later.
Hell yeah. Back to the race. I felt like this was Kyle Larson was pretty much one of our favorite words of the year is inevitable. In this one, Rico we know is very good. I know it didn't maybe look that way because I went back and watched a replay, and it maybe from the camera angles, it didn't look like maybe he kind of like rolled the same time as Larson. I sat right there. He jumped the shit out of that start. I can't believe they didn't bring it back. I couldn't believe they let that one go. It was close, but he definitely jumped it, and he got the start. He got the lead right off the start. Kyle Larson was on the pole, or Rico was in third, and just pulled right underneath him and pulled right around him and went, and they didn't call it back. But Larson ends up getting it back anyway. And maybe the highlight of this whole night was him lapping David Gravel at the end. He was at the concert then afterwards, and they were interviewing him in front of a pretty big crowd. And they asked him, "Hey, what was the best part of the night?" And he said, "Lapping David Gravel," and the crowd went nuts. So just another thing to add to this outlaw. It's not just even the Larson Gravel rivalry. It's feeds into the whole outlaw high limit rivalry, and I think it's so much fun.
The Twitter account or the X account, right? When before the night was over, before it was midnight, the Outlaw said, "All right, we got next," and the High Limit account said, "No, we got the keys until midnight." Like, like it's so good, and I don't necessarily know if the High Limit account is. It's not one of those accounts that's known for being super witty, right? Like we know there's certain sports organizations that are really good, or businesses that are really good on X and being witty, and they don't mind taking a little bit of heat, but they're good at it. That was probably one of the best High Limit, responses or tweets or whatever we want to call them that I've ever seen from them. Was, "Hey, we got the keys. We got the keys till midnight, bro." Like, okay, you know what? Fair, right? So, this was probably my favorite race of the week. Like,
This was good. This is a good one.
this was my favorite race of the week to watch because at any minute I thought Larson was going to junk it or lose the lead again and then do something crazy to get it back. Like at any point, this track was on the wall. It was tricky. It was difficult. I don't know if it was fun necessarily, but as an observer, it looked like fun. It was fun to watch. This was probably my favorite race of the week.
I'm with you, and I kind of said it, albeit a little bit under the influence, but I felt like the high limit portion of the week was so much better than the outlaw portion of the week for some reason. And then, besides maybe like the main event and stuff, what they did on Saturday night, but if high limit just helped raise it. I don't know what it is. It's just they do some extra things. And the racing was good too. They didn't have the same circumstances as the Outlaws. I'm not trying to say like the Outlaw product is shit. It was fine. It's just that the high limit portion of this, and maybe it was the format that you had two full things or two full programs basically on Wednesday night, And then they had a nice, quick, efficient show here on Thursday night where the sun was still kind of up when this thing ended. Obviously, it's on FS1 and they have to think about time. I love this part of the week. I thought it was great.
Um, I think as you talk there, and I agree with you, as you talked, it hit me. I know what it is. I know why it feels that way because Tony Laporta dunks on Connor Wade in the
That's
biggest
a great point.
ways.
That's a great point.
He adds so much to it. He's corny, but he's
He
funny.
really does.
He's doesn't have to know everything about sprint cars, and he admittedly doesn't. But he does such a nice job. And TLP absolutely dunks on Connor Wade's little bitch ass in every way. In every way.
I
And
couldn't
it
agree. I couldn't agree
to the
more. I
point
couldn't
that
agree more.
like Johnny's great at his job. We know it. He's a
Yeah.
legend. He's phenomenal. But those two together, it hurts my ears sometimes. And I'm just like, it's just not hitting for me. And I don't know what it is, and it's been that way for a long time. Honestly, Chase was pretty good as the pit reporter with the Outlaws.
Yeah.
I don't think Chase is my favorite like main announcer, but those two together do a really, really good job. High Limit runs an efficient show to the point that they're making it like very known that that's our goal, that's our point.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we do. We want to have you done and out, and I don't care if it's sunset or not. We don't need to hold you hostage and make it feel like a night race. We want to do what we do. We start when we start. We run our show and we get you home.
Mm-hmm.
FS1 or not, go watch a regular High Limit show without FS1. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter. They do what they do. And their point from day one, and it's starting to shine very clearly, is that it's efficient, it's great racing, and it's great personalities. Period. They just have it figured out. And I almost had this typed up earlier in Discord when we posted our buddy of the game, Eric Schneck posted the viewership for
TV
the
numbers.
FS1.
Yeah.
Okay. And it hit me there, and I didn't type it out because I wanted to like think about it some more before I just typed it. High Limit in 2 years, 3 years now, has done more to raise the bar and raise the game of sprint car racing than the Outlaws have in the last 10. I know that's a little bit edgy, and I'm not trying to play the game against each other, but hundreds of thousands of people watching on FS1, and they can pull it off and do it live and not have to have pre-recorded, not have to tape delayed, watch it 3 weeks later. They're doing it live. They're doing it now, and they've centered it around. And I don't care if it's Kyle Larson and Brad Sweet and the connections they have. The Outlaws were the only connection. They were the only game in town for decades. Yes, has it been on TV? Sure. TNN back in the day, but what about current day to move it forward? What have they done other than doing what they do? Yes, Dirt Vision, but this whole thing to FS1 and them having a TV window and getting it in the TV window all season, every race so far, even though some of them have gotten really close. High Limit has done more to raise the bar of sprint car racing for everyone, all of us, fans, drivers,
including the
everyone,
Outlaws. Yeah.
including the Outlaws, to bring exposure to it than the Outlaws have done in a long time. And I don't want to necessarily like shit on the Outlaws for that, but
Yeah, no, that's not.
They could have figured this out. Why couldn't they have done this and made these connections?
You don't know until you have that competition that kind of pushes you, and they are being that competition that pushes you. And, they're doing some different things and really elevating the entire profile of sprint car racing 100%. They got almost 300,000 viewers on just FS1. That's not including the people that already are into it. That's not including the 30,000 people. Well, I mean, I guess Wednesday and Thursday, not quite as many people, but say let's be conservative and say 15,000 people that were there Wednesday and Thursday, that are already there. You know what I mean? So it's not a high, I'm not trying to make it a High Limit is better than the Outlaws thing, because there would be no High Limit if there were no Word of Outlaws. Let's be real about that. The Word of Outlaws have been the pinnacle for years. It's just you got to give credit to where because like I said, like the Wednesday, that Thursday portion was the best portion of the week, and I can't. Maybe it's not. I don't know if it's the format, the High Limit thing. They had better weather, whatever, but it was so much more fun.
Yeah, there's
That
something
that
there.
that not saying that the other part wasn't fun, but I'm
Sure.
just trying to give it its flowers on how good it really was.
But it did feel different. It felt different, right? It felt like somebody different was running it. It felt like it was a different ran program. And it was a
Mhm,
little bit, right? Friday was probably the closest thing to Wednesday, Thursday, right?
mhm.
I think Saturday kind of stands on its own. It is
It
King's
does,
Royal.
for
It is.
sure.
It has
Yep.
its own pageantry, which is fine. The Outlaws do a fine job with it.
Yes.
But I think if you're comparing and you still felt a difference Friday from Wednesday, Thursday, there's a difference. There's for sure a difference. My favorite announcer, Johnny Gibson, or what? It would be or what, because it's not Johnny Gibson. So um, it would be or what, I guess, if that's the answer options I have. So yeah,
Um, something that happened on this night happened before the B main. Um, and I think it's, Eldora doing the right thing, High Limit doing the right thing of a shitty situation that just happens sometimes in the nature of we're in a sport where you need a truck to push you to be able to start your car. But Colmacedo gets run over getting pushed out for the B main. And they go through and they're letting him get it all fixed, and then you start seeing and they had to hold him back. They're like, actually, you can't start. The frame was cracked. It was c- cracked completely apart. Um, unfortunate, really unfortunate for Colmacedo, but good on them for trying to make it the best that they could by still giving him start money for the A main
yeah,
start money when he was only lining up for a B main. They gave him some extra money. Obviously it's not, but this does happen with push trucks. It's just kind of a nature. It's one out of every 1,000 of them that maybe happens, but it happens. And one just happened to be catastrophic that it broke uh, the chassis on the 2C.
yeah, just terrible all around. Sucks. Good on High Limit to do what they could, to
Yeah,
try to do what's right. I mean, they didn't really owe him anything. I don't think there's anything in the rule book that says that. So good on them for doing it. Just tough for Cole, man. Tough for that whole team.
yeah,
That's just doesn't matter who it is. That's a shitty deal.
yeah. Um, what else? Stutz should get some money too for the tow truck fucking his wing up. That was part of it too, because TJ Stutz had a blown tire. He was on the hook. They changed the tire, and I think when they lowered him, they bent his front wing or his top wing pretty good. But he ended up going back out there with it anyway. Um, but yeah, it's just kind of some weird things that happened there, and it sucked for Colmacedo, but he got more than you never know. He might have not even made the field in that B main and got more than he would have made. So while it sucks, chassis is done pretty much, or maybe they could. I guess they could probably repair that part. It's not like a completely done chassis, but
It might be. Who knows? I don't know. Where it was and what the situation. Where I don't know. I don't know enough about that shit.
they're tracking promotions. The outlaw shows feel like racing events. High limits feel like shows. I think that's a good way to put it. I can agree with that. Um, Matt Trace. Kyle Larson helps a selling point to broadcast it. The casual NASCAR fan wants to watch them without paying for a subscription, and that's what they provided here. Midweek, they put it on FSO on Thursday. They also put it on Amazon Prime, Roku, and Fubo on Wednesday. So I mean, that's part of a Flow Racing deal that they have. They're willing to put it out there for free to an extent if you're willing to go find it. Um, just and Dirt Vision maybe doesn't have those connections. They're just independent. So, but yeah, I definitely think that helps. But yeah, Kyle Larson, man, great job for him. Back-to-back winner of the hunt. That was $100,000 to win. Joker's jackpot. Great racing in that one. So good. Then we go back to Double Down Duels, where you got two full programs where they split the field in half, and you got qualifying, you got time trials, you got heats, and you got two full features. Winner of the first feature was Brent Marks, who really just dominated this one. He just kind of went out, started on the pole. There were guys battling behind him, including Brent wins here over second place Tyler Courtney. Kyle Larson, Rico Abreu, Sheldon Haudenschild, Logan Schuhart, James McFadden, Brady Bacon, Jason Persley, and Kerry Matson. Shout out Chase Dietzer getting 11th place finish in this one. Rico, this was kind of the start of the Kyle versus Rico that you saw carried over into Thursday night. They were battling, and they looked like the two fastest cars. When I'm sitting there, I kept pointing them out. They looked like the two fastest cars out there on the track. There was a good battle between Tyler Courtney, Sheldon Haudenschild there for a while. James McFadden as well early on. Like there was some really good racing in this one. But
Yeah, I mean, it looked like
Went and pulled
Brent
away.
was Brent was kind of gone. Obviously, as a fan, like, cool, great, but the cameras did a nice job of watching these battles, and man, they were fierce. Like, these guys they looked angry at each other. They weren't, but
Right.
the sliders felt personal. And it was great. It was fun to watch. It was very entertaining. And again, I think we saw some of the best forms of Eldora we're going to see from Thursday to Saturday in different ways. Saturday being what it was, or Friday being what it was, so heavy, like you said, it was still like Corey Day made that look entertaining and scary. Larson after this, Brent, while he stole this show, second through basically the whole field, there was something happening. And good for Brent, because like, not upset obviously that he stunk up the show in this one, but damn, these guys were getting after it, and that was fun.
Yeah, just like I said, Brent stuck up the show. He just pulled away as these guys were battling, and he was fast anyway. But really good feature one. You see Buddy Kofoid back there, and like there was some good. Both of these fields were good. Buddy Kofoid there was 13th. Shout out Joe Myers Jr. comes from the B, 23rd to 14th. Saw some of those guys after this race. They were pretty hyped. Finally get some speed.
Wait, did you get to meet those guys? Did you meet?
Yeah, I got to. Lath and Alec, yeah, they were both pretty.
They're real. They're
pretty
real. They're real humans.
Yeah, they're real people. Yes, they work
Wow.
on that 19 car. Yeah, they had to come through a B main, and he moved his way up, hit a 14th here, and a little up and down week. They were really bad at Attica because I went to try to go find them at Attica, and they were like, "Yeah, we pulled out immediately. We were so pissed." And then they were pretty happy. They felt like they found something there that night, and it did. They kind of. I know we didn't have a great rest of the week, but not a bad bet week either, for sure, for where they're at.
Yep, no doubt. It's fun to see some of these other names like Carter Sarf and Brandon Spitholder.
Yeah, Carter Sarf was pretty impressive.
It was pretty cool. Caleb Henry had a quietly like not runs up front, but made the Kings Royal. He made the Kings Royal. He ran this one. A guy who's really at this point now, like he's gonna the heavy favorite to win the All-Star title, with Cale Thomas stepping away from the 49X. Caleb Henry making these shows and continue to gain that experience in that 101. He's going to be a threat in future years at Eldora and everywhere else. That guy gets it, man. He's fun to watch.
And then the second feature, like I was saying before, Corey D, man, he was so good in this one, just absolutely banging the wall down. How he didn't wreck a couple times, I don't know, but he made it work. And finished the second over Gio Scelzi, and they had a really good moment here where Scelzi was leading this one.
Scelzi jumped the restart. Didn't Scelzi jump that restart?
I think so. Yeah, and Day gave him the old salute as he passed by him, and then he did it again, jokingly. I hope. I don't know. It seemed like they were all smiling. Yeah. But after when they did their victory lane pictures together, he was giving him the bird too. It's pretty funny. That was a pretty legendary moment right there.
Yeah, it sounds like this was all kind of fun. I think that there was no animosity here, but definitely made for a cool moment. And listen, this is reminiscent of the Terry McCarl, Donnie Schatz back in the day deal, right? Was it Atomic? Was it somewhere Atomic? Like, that was the one that we've talked about for years and years and years and years, the salute. This one, at least we can get in 4K. Well, 1080p maybe. But like, that'll be saved for a long time. And it needs to be a sticker in our Discord, by the way. I don't know how it's not yet. Someone had to have saved that screenshot. But no, that was fun. That was pretty cool. And this is Corey Day. I like the personality of it. Gio's quietly has a personality. He's a pretty he had a pretty good week. All things told. I mean, good run here, good run in the main event. For the Kings Royal, Gio is quietly like like a dry, sarcastic sense of humor, but doesn't get to show it a lot, right? Because you don't really get interviewed in front of the whole
When you don't
world,
win.
but a time or two, right? Unless you're winning or on the podium. So, um, pretty cool. This was fun. It's obviously not like a rivalry kind of thing here, but that's the fun part I think about sprint car racing. Still, is these guys can actually show their personality. Where in when we compare it to like a NASCAR where these guys have to toe the line, and there's a few renegades out there, and the sponsors and team owners are okay with it, but the winning teams and the winning drivers in NASCAR are robots at this point, and it's boring as fuck.
Mhm.
This is fun. This was fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree. Um, Justin Peck with a podium finish here, third. Then Parker Price Miller, Carson Macedo, Emerson Axum, who started on the pole with this and was battling pretty hard with Gio Scelzi, and I think Parker Price Miller there for the lead for a while, and led some of this race. Spencer Baston, Aaron Reitzel, Anthony Macri, and Donnie Schatz rounded out the top 10 in this one. Matt Trace here says, I feel like PPM and the Indy 71 was really underwhelming this week. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of ho-hum normal for them. Like he'll have nights where he's up there in the top 5, and then the next 3 you won't see him. And that's
feel like
just kind of PPM. That's just kind of PPM in that, not even just in the 71, but kind of PPM in general. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I just think he's, he can have some good nights. He needs a good night, and then you won't hear from him for the next few. And just kind of where they're at.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And top 10 here for Macri, but really, like you were saying before, you kind of didn't really think Macri was going to go win the King's Royal based off the week he was having. He didn't look that great. He went backwards here. He went from 5th to 9th in this feature. But still had a solid night there on the first night. Anyone know who had the best average finish for all 4 races? I don't.
All right, somebody hop in. Get this done. Somebody figure this out for us. Thank you.
So, but I do know, I think it was Sheldon, Logan Schuchart, Donnie, but he had to use a provisional one night. Baston, but he had to use a provisional one night. Tanner Holmes. I think those were the guys. There's only a couple guys to make the feature every single night. And then obviously, I mean, this was a different story. The first night, there were still B-main and cars went home, but
Brent made the feature every night. Had a first, a fifth, and then 2 not great finishes. So the average isn't that great, probably.
Yeah.
Because he had a first and a fifth, and then 2 not great ones. He made every one.
If I had to guess, it might be Logan Schuchart. Logan had a really good week. Didn't really necessarily compete for wins, but he was up near the top 5 all week.
What was Corey Day's other ones? He had a first here.
Corey Day, yeah, but Corey Day also wrecked out of Thursday.
I know this Thursday night. That's one bad finish.
So he had first, and then he finished 23rd. Then he finished first, so 2 wins, and then he finished 4th. So
first, 4th, 20. Like he got to be there in the average because the 2 wins in the 4th.
Gio Scelzi is another one. He finishes 3rd. He finished. I thought he made this one. Did I pass by him on Friday night? I don't see him. Where did he finish there? I'm missing him. Yeah, he finished 16th at the B-main on that one. So not Gio, because he didn't even make a feature there.
Hey, check out Rico. Matt Trace is on the Rico band. Rico train.
Rico 2nd, and then 5th. Then 2nd, and then it has to be Rico, and then 4th.
Yeah, 4th.
Yeah, worse than 4th, so it has to be Rico. And I've been talking,
which is crazy because you're still like Rico didn't win, didn't even come up on there because we expect hey, go win one of these things, and I'm sure he wants to go win obviously the one, but probably Rico.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna do the math there, but he has to be one of them. But like I said, Logan Schuchart, Here he had sixth. He had third.
Good.
He had eighth, and then he finishes seventh.
Seventh.
So
Yeah.
that's why I figured. I was really impressed with
Rico
Logan.
Schuhart Day,
Yeah,
maybe.
Sheldon maybe in there
Yeah.
as well. Pretty crazy though. Good week there though at Eldora. I can't say enough about how fun it was, and it's basically going to be turning into, after doing it once, probably be a yearly tradition. I'm already looking forward to going back next year. So
That's awesome.
Let's go back to Tuesday night. This was the one I was really excited about, and this one was crazy, and this was a lot of fun, and I loved going to this place, Attica Raceway Park. World of Outlaws Tuesday night for the Brad Doty Classic. This one was pretty fun. Bryce Lucius getting his first career World of Outlaw win over Logan Schuhart, Buddy Koford, Tanner Thorson, David Gravel, Bill Baylog, James McFadden, Brady Bacon, Caleb Henry, and Emerson Axum, your top 10. Bryce Lucius leads 16 laps of this for the $20,000 to win race. Someone I didn't list off there was Kyle Larson, who he had to get the lead from. Then he also wrecked from the lead, and also Carson Macedo led 15 laps. Got caught up in Kyle Larson getting sideways in this one. Gets clipped, flips, ends up getting back out there, which I didn't realize the Outlaws changed this rule, or maybe it was always a rule that if you get fixed up, you could go back out, even if it's not on the same lap. Because both Sheldon Hanshield and Carson Macedo were able to do it in this one. They went out multiple laps down after they got fixed. A caution came out laps later, and they were able to go out and run. I didn't know that was a rule change. I was unaware of it, but I was very surprised to see Sheldon Hanshield, who was 12 laps down, go back out there after getting his car fixed after he got flipped on the front stretch on this one, to go out and try to pick up a few positions for points. And Carson Macedo is allowed to do the same thing. I thought it was weird. I did not think that was a rule change, but apparently it was. But story of the night was definitely Bryce Lucius. Just gave me, it gave not quite, it wasn't on the level of like TJ Stutz winning the Summer Nationals here, but it was similar into the fact where the crowd went nuts for him. They were all for it. Guy getting his first Outlaw win. This kid's pretty good, and he's back. It was in his own equipment. He wasn't anything to write home about in the 27 car at Eldora all week. But man, he looked really good at Eldora and got the win here against some heavyweights, man. I mean, the battle it out with Kyle Larson and get the win at a place that Larson's been so good at. He was going for his fourth Brad Doty Classic there. And Carson Macedo as well, who was the defending champion. He was out running them, and he holds off Schuhart here at the end. Good for Bryce.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of a hater on my part here, because it took Larson stepping on his dick twice to get this to happen, but you got to be in a position to take advantage of it. And Bryce did a hell of a job. So I'm not going to take that away from him. But I think we all really kind of know, like, hey, brother, good for you.
Yeah.
I'm being a hater here. I really am, because he earned this. He ran up front. He passed Larson. He battled with the best of the best. He did his job. He held him off. He won this damn race. Period. End of sentence. Local guy winning this deal where what a story. I listened to Chase Fiedler on Dirt Tracker talked about Bryce's stats against the Outlaws, and he's only made like 40% of the races he's entered, made the A mains. Didn't even make them all, let alone top fives, let alone a win or threaten for a win. So, like, upset of the year has to be.
Yeah.
So, and it's not just like an outlaw race Attica that was, whatever. It's the Doty. It matters. Very cool. Just a great story. Racetrack was oddly heavy.
Yeah.
I didn't love that. I think Attica, and it's changed a little bit, and I'm not an Attica pro here, but like watching it just doesn't feel like it's been the same the last couple of years than it was like 3 to 5 to 10 years ago. I don't know if they got different clay. I mean, the people from out there would know a little better than I would, but they changed something, and I don't know what it is, but it just didn't feel like that slow slick around the top slider type track. Go ahead.
Yes. So in their defense, if you thought it was hot for Speed Week here in PA, it was about 20% hotter, I think, out in Ohio. And this was one of the hottest days of the week. I think they really overwatered it, knowing that, hey, we're going to be running quite a bit in daylight. There was a lot of cars there, over 50. There was like almost 50 cars there. And I think they overwatered it. And then it just never really, it was, since it was so humid, it just kept pulling moisture up and pulling moisture up because that they were trying to get moisture in the track. When I pulled in on Monday morning, they were watering the track. And, I know that's kind of a normal thing for tracks, but just to put it in perspective, that it was just so
Yeah.
hot. The heat index that afternoon was 115 degrees. It was disgusting. But it was still so humid, that it never really dried out. And maybe they overwatered it a bit. Obviously they did. But
It's funny.
I
Like
think that's part of it.
I've been to going to racetracks a long time, and I've never been as involved as I am now in this deal at these tracks and talking to track guys and talking to people that work at these racetracks. And it's funny that we hit summertime and humidity came in. Like here in PA, even we got into summer when the humidity set in July, late June, early July. We get into August, and we've had heavier tracks for the most part. They water them, they get sunlight. The biggest thing I've noticed and it's hit me more this year than ever before, that are killers to these surfaces as far as having moisture, are low humidity and wind. Not heat, not sun, it's low humidity and wind. Whenever we get the humidity here and we get the lower wind, we end up with heavier racetracks, and it built a curb, or they don't dry out as fast unless you sealed it over and you saw what you got at Eldora. That's intentional. But what I've noticed, like Lincoln was a big example of that for me. That one night, I got to Fred and he's like, man, I with the one night they were thinking it was going to rain, and he didn't get a chance to dig it up until very late and just got water on it. It held up really nice that night, and it stayed heavier than we all thought it would based on the way it started, because there was humidity in the air and the moisture stayed in the clay for whatever, like however that worked. And it was like we got into summer where the humidity, and it really matters to the makeup of this dirt and clay. And this had that feel a little bit where like
And also how
115
much they're putting
degrees,
into it too.
we don't get a dry heat in the Northeast. I don't care how you do it. You don't get 115 heat index on, like, with dry heat, right? We don't get that. It gets to 115 heat index because there's humidity involved and the dew point's really high. You get a high dew point, you get a high humidity, you're going to keep some moisture in the racetrack inevitably.
Yeah.
And what you put down is going to stay longer than it would have in late May and early June, when you have, you might have 80 degrees and you're 85 degrees, but you got sun and wind,
You don't have
no humidity.
yeah.
Right? It's a very different thing. And this just felt like you just said, I mean, they prepped and it just didn't, they kept running it in and trying to knock it down to make it wider and wider and wider. And these cars, man, they just looked all rolled over all night on the right side, just like right on the soft, because it was so much grip, and they were so gripped up, and they were just trying to manhandle these cars. And you saw Larson make the mistakes he made, and he wasn't the only one probably back through this field that were out of shape. Or, I saw wheel stands from the green flag every corner. Someone was pulling the tires off the ground, off the corner at this place. And, if you look at Attica and the shape and the design of it, it's like a paper clip too. I mean, it really is longer straightaways, tight radius corners, obviously with some banking. But if they're not up on the edge and on the banking, you're kind of running down in there, and you're kind of coming up out a little bit, and they're just pulling the tires off the ground. These cars just look unhappy. Like they were gripped up and it was fast, but they looked like a handful all night. So, shout out Bryce Lucius, man. One of our iRacing guys. I haven't seen him win many races on iRacing because he usually crashes. So, he'll take this win over a win on iRacing, I'm sure.
Yeah. And like Kale Thomas here in the comments. What's going on, Kale? He said it's been a lot there. They are not as consistent, in my opinion, right now. And I agree, because the last race I watched there before going out there, it looked like it got pretty wide. And like I said, when I got there Monday morning, they were already watering it, and I think they were just trying to prep it for it being like so hot and just put a lot of moisture in it, and the moisture just didn't go away. And it was like I said, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday last week was brutal. It was just as hot as Speed Week. It was actually hotter. It felt hotter than Speed Week. I just with how humid it was disgusting. You didn't even want to be outside. Friday after it rained, it felt good, and then Saturday was hot, but it wasn't as bad. Um, it was, and at night it was a little bit cooler. It wasn't as humid. But yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday was brutal out there.
Yeah, Kale, welcome in, brother. Hope you're doing okay, man. Can't wait to see you back out there in some way or another. And we talk our buddy Kevin Click, who we have on iRacing. He's from that area, and he talked a lot about like how much rain they've had where we haven't. Like in PA, we've been
No,
in
we
this
haven't.
drought
No.
this drought cycle where we'll get some thunderstorms, we'll get some rain, and then we're gonna be really hot, and then we won't get any rain, and where it sounds like some of these places have just been like inundated with when it rains a lot. So the inconsistencies, that makes sense to me, right? I think we would see that more here if we were dealing with the same things. It would be a struggle to get these tracks ready to be raceable. Um, yeah, could do these tracks want to have some rain, but I think that every track guy would probably want it to just be consistent, like be predictable. Hey, here's what I'm going to get, right? Like,
Yeah.
don't throw me a curveball from the weather and make our jobs harder. But the weather's going to weather. That's what we know.
Yeah. Like I said, I was a little disappointed that it wasn't the normal Attica that I was expecting to see, but I still got put on. That the show was great. It was still awesome.
Where
Racing
did you
was still
sit?
really good. I sat right after the start finish line. You could
Okay.
almost see that where the camera was for the broadcast. I was right below. I was only a couple
Nice.
rows up from down from the top, and I was right below it. You could kind of
Oh,
see me at points. But yeah, right there. It was awesome seats. It was great. And
yeah.
we
So
were
that's the.
crammed in there. That place, there was not one seat open. Like it was packed there. And so
Yeah.
good for Attica on that.
I need to get there and watch a race. The
Ah,
perspectives
so
look
good.
awesome. Like, not even as a photographer, just as a fan. I've always, before I even got into photography, that's a place I've always wanted to go see.
And I got to shout out their camping. They had full hookup there. Well, no, if you're an RV person, no sewer, but they had water and they had electric. It was all sold out. I went there on Monday. It was sold out, and it was awesome. A really good vibe around there. Really nice facility. The pizza there is awesome. Smitty's, I think it is. It's some of the best pizza I had in a while, and they had some really good wings. So I really enjoyed myself at Attic. It was a really cool little town and a cool little track.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Going back to Fremont, I didn't go to this one on Tuesday, or I'm sorry, on Monday last week. For the high limit series at Fremont, where Brett Marks got the win over Justin Peck, Aaron Reitzel, Kerry Matson, Gio Selzy, Rico Abreu, Brock Zierfoss's first night in the 17 GP, finishing seventh. Kyle Larson, Tyler Courtney, and Caleb Henry rounding out top 10. Brett Marks, just another one, starting on the pole, going out, taking care of business, and finally getting a win at this point. It was finally being able to get that high limit win.
Only wins from the pole. Can only win from the front row. He's that guy, So, um, I I'll be honest. Watching this race, it was like slow, slick around the bottom. I still was worried Justin Peck was going to get there because he was driving the car entry so hard, like it just was visibly closed on Brent into the corner, and I was just waiting for something to happen. But he held him off. Uh, led every lap. But the story to me was like it wasn't ever like watching this race. As a Brent fan, I would never felt like "Hey, he's got this. It's under control." Justin was doing everything he could, and it felt like at any moment a lap car would make a mistake, or Brent would guess wrong where the lap car was going to go, get out of shape, and it was over. It was one of those races, man. You just felt like you're on the edge of your seat, like what was about to happen. So, luckily, probably that Kyle Larson had to start 22nd in this one. Or Reitzel didn't start at 13th, maybe. I'm certainly not going to take it away from Brent because it was a long time coming here for the way the season went. But I like watching that race from Fremont, but I don't like how that track ended up. I don't know what
Yeah, it was a little Yeah.
what they were kind of going for, or what was the situation there, weather wise. Um, but hey, we'll take it.
Yeah.
19,
No, it was
19 victory lane finally.
still an entertaining race. Kyle Larson, like you said, 22nd to 8th. Troy Savage here says Kyle Larson was entertaining at Fremont. He spun out or leading his heat race.
Yeah.
And you go backwards on the track, and because we know Kyle Larson's good. I mean, Kyle Larson's good everywhere, but he's been good there at Fremont as well. And it looked like he was going to continue on just being really fast, and ends up spinning himself out. It was, I would like to say a rare mistake from Kyle Larson, but honestly, it's kind of you see it from him. Um, Rico with a good charge from 14th to 6th. Iron Reitzel plus 10 positions as well, 13th to 3rd. Tyler Courtney, 20th to 9th. But yeah, great run for Brent Marks and Justin Peck. I think those top two, they good runs for them. Great to see Brent Marks finally get a high limit win clicked off here, as he's been so close coming into that race. Wrapping up Ohio last week, just fantastic time. Gotta give a shout out to our boys Troy Savage. Got to hang out with him a lot this week at Eldora and at Attica. Had a good time getting to know him. Our buddy Perigo came out on one night and stayed with us. He always have a good time with him. He was kind of my tour guide at Eldora because he's, I never been to Eldora, and he came out the first night and kind of gave me a little bit of the lay of the land and everything a little bit. So shout out to Brett and everybody else that I saw throughout the week. And if I didn't, sorry, but I've such a great time. I look forward to getting out there again next year. Weekend. So everything here coming back here locally, everything here was rained and or smoked out for the past week. Port Royal canceled on Saturday because of rain, and then Friday with the conditions of the air, Williams Grove canceled. Kale Thomas with a little nugget here. I do have a Knoxville Nationals ride. As if you guys didn't see, Kale Thomas did decide to leave the 49X. But he has a Knoxville Nationals ride.
Breaking news. Kale
News.
Thomas enters the Knoxville Nationals. Let's go, dude. Let's go.
That's good news to hear. Hope to see him back out on the track here soon. Did see Zeth Sabo, I think, is in that 49 car now. But Kale, it's gonna be fast in whatever he goes in. That's for sure.
Yeah. See, here's my problem. Right? Did you see the paint? They made it white.
Mm-hmm.
White cars are better than every other car. Kale, you could have made it white this whole time. No, you left the damn thing orange that whole time. Could have done it. You leave, and now it's white. Come on, man.
It does look good, but it won't be as fast. I'll tell you that. No disrespect to Zeth, but
Well, there's a
it's
hint.
a California car, Kale Thomas.
Swindell Speed Lab? Are they back?
Ooh. Are they I don't know if they're California,
no.
are they?
I mean, yeah, I guess not.
Snow car?
Ooh, snow car like that. Are they? They're not either.
They're a California car.
Is it?
Yeah. I think, right?
Is it a third Mitri construction car, the one Sanders and Mitri drive? A third 2X? Is it 2 triple X? That'd be cool. That would actually be kind of dope. There needs to be a 2 triple X.
That would be pretty cool. It has a bear on it. Uh-oh. There's a bear on it.
All right, California specialist. Where's Jeremy Elliott when you need him? Wait.
All right. Well, when he said that, there's almost the Swindell car or the snow car, right? Don't they have a bear on it? I don't know. Jeremy's gonna figure it out here real quick.
Yeah, hold on a second.
He's got it. A bear. That would be pretty crazy. The Swindell car were to make a comeback though, with Kale in it.
I don't
That'd
have
be
it.
sick.
Someone will figure it out. Anyway,
Somebody in the chat will crack the code, unless Kale wants to just tell us. We're not California specialists here.
yeah, we're not those guys. I was just shitting on them earlier, and now I got a friend of mine who's going to drive a California car. Look at me.
Think Chili Bowl. He's if feel maybe you're right. Tell me now. No, this is too much fun.
I'm like searching the internet.
Why you do that? I'm gonna go back to
All right,
last
go
week,
ahead.
to last weekend. We're gonna continue to work back. Bedford
Yeah.
Speedway last week.
Bear 39.
Yeah, that's what I
thought
kept
they had the
saying.
Bear sponsorship on the 39.
I just didn't think they were California.
Christopher Bell drove one. It was 39 Bear Archery. They had Bear Archery as a sponsor at one point.
Somebody
for
else
Seabell. I don't know. Yeah, Bear Archery. There's another one. They ran it at Knoxville. So it's Bear Archery from the Midwest. So it could be a California car with a Bear Archery sponsorship.
Uh-huh.
All right, Bear Archery.
Kale says it's not them.
Bear Archery's from Delaware? Oh, that's Black Bear Archery. Hold on. That ain't it.
Had a bear because of sponsorship. All right.
Right.
And they're from Indiana.
Yeah, and they're from that's what. Yeah. My brain went to chili bowl and a bear. All right. Well, someone will figure it out.
One thing I do got to say before we go back to Bedford, actually, and Troy Savage says I got to say the PA fans in Ohio this weekend were absolutely amazing. You, Jimmy, were great to hang out with, and all the other PA fans I hung out with are amazing. Thank you. I bring Troy up because he was able to go do what I should have did. I went and just made on the Saturday before last Saturday. I went to the Ohio State Reformatory, which was pretty cool, right? And then right down the road is Mansfield Speedway. So I'm like, man, I'm here. I'm only a couple miles away. I'm just gonna go roll through and see what's going on. They had a motocross track in the back. And the facility, the one gate was kind of open. I'm like, man, I'm just gonna go in and just like look real quick, get a couple pictures, and leave. One of the workers came up, was like, hey, what are you doing here? Are you here for the motocross thing? I'm like, no, listen, I'm from PA. I just wanted to check it out. And instead of kicking me out and thinking like, no, you can't do this, get out of here, was gracious enough to say, hey, sit in the golf cart. Gave me an entire tour of the facility. Was going to give me a tour of their suites and stuff, which I see that Troy got a tour of, because he actually did the right thing and messaged him and said, hey, I'm coming through. Can I see the facility? I just kind of showed up and acted like basically I trespassed, and they were real cool enough to just like, and it's such a what they've done to that facility at Mansfield is outrageous. Like the facility is gorgeous. The track looks really, really good. I really want to try. That's a track that I'm going to try to have to get back to at some point out there. I would recommend anybody else. But I saw Troy also. He did what I should have did and was like, hey, I'm coming through. Can you give me a tour? And they gave him a tour and everything. So, but I got to give Mansfield some credit for not kicking me out and also doing such a great job with that facility.
Yeah, that's badass. I wish. Yeah, that's cool. So the facility is pretty badass, though.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. I mean, just it's massive, first of all, and they built this motocross facility, and they had open practice going on, and they had a lot of people there for it. There's camping for that. There's camping for the track. It's just real, and brand new buildings for bathrooms and stuff like that. Obviously they put a lot of money into it, and they deserve a lot of praise because it looks awesome, and the track looks really great. Like I didn't expect it to be, one, as banked as it was, and two, to be as set up as well as it was. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's badass. I'm still looking for bears on race cars. So That's your
all right.
story, brother. I can't add much to it because it
No,
was
you're
yours.
good. I just wanted to give that tidbit because I saw it because Troy, when we were leaving on Sunday morning, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to Mansfield. They're going to give me a tour." I'm like, "That's what I should have did." He told me I should have did that. So anyway, Bedford last Sunday, PA Posse Series, making its really it was supposed to be its second trip, but the first one got rained out. Chase Dietz getting the win over Justin Whittall, Ryan Newton, Ryan Smith, Troy Wagaman, Logan Wagner, Lance DeWeese, Ricky Peterson, Dylan Norris, and Lucas Wolf in his first weekend in that 39 Tron car getting a top 10. I don't know if it's a downside, but there was only 14 cars at this one. But Chase Dietz doing what Chase Dietz does, getting the win here. How was this race? I know you were there as you're looking up.
I'm back. I'm done.
Oh, you're good. Oh, Dave. Oh. Dave sponsorship. It is a bear. Dave.com. Right? California car, Dave.com. Sprint car. We're trying to figure it out. Man. Everything but it seems to be coming up. If you have an idea, Santos, throw it out there. We do have a Chili Bowl car. I think it's called Dave, I think, for the Bear sponsorship.
There we go. Dave. A 31 car Chili Bowl. It was Bite. What does this say?
Trace saying, is that the same team that Tanner Holmes drove for, the 31 in the Chili Bowl?
Bythlen? Bythlen? Is the name of that car? It was a 31. I see the sponsor. I can see the damn thing. Visit. Why is this picture on this article? Then you click on the article and
Santos
you can't see the
says Chase Johnson Racing? I don't think.
That's Toyota all over it.
That's Toyota, yeah.
I searched Dave the Bear Chili Bowl and I got pictures of bowls of chili. It looks so good.
What are we trying to figure out? Cale Thomas is trying to give us some hints here of what his Chili Bowl, or not Chili Bowl, Knoxville Nationals ride is this year. It has a bear on it. It's from California. They also had a Chili Bowl. We figured it's Dave. I think the company's called Dave. It has a bear on it, if that's correct. But that's what we're trying to figure out, Steph. He's leaving us breadcrumbs here, and we're trying to get to the end of the trail.
And we're not very good at this.
Well, I don't know. I didn't see anything from this, Jay-Z, at Bedford. How was Bedford?
All right. So here's the deal with Bedford. It was a terrible car count, and it was horribly disappointing, and there's no reason for it. This place deserved the opportunity to put on a show. I don't care what the timing was. There was plenty of people. This is Western PA. There was guys on the way to Ohio. It's a posse. Santos, I can't answer the phone right now. I'm on a show. Hold on. All right.
Hold on. Put them on.
All right, Santos, what's up? Hold on.
You remember that 73 car Hunter Schoenberg ran at the beginning of the year?
No.
It was at Vegas. It was a black and yellow, black and gold, whatever it was. Kevin Thielman owns it. And he ran that midget car with Tanner Holmes last year. And it was sponsored by Dave.com. It's Kevin Thielman, 73. He owns a 410 sprint car out in Cali.
So that's the car I found on the internet, but I didn't know.
It's that 73 car. Hunter ran it at the beginning of the year. I know he did. I remember that for a fact. So I'm wondering if that's who it is. That's who I'd be willing to bet my bank account on it.
Hunter Schoenberg in a 73. Doesn't even Google come up that way.
That's exciting news, though.
I wish I could post it. I'll find it on Google or I'll find it on Hunter's Facebook
What
page.
I want to know,
send it to you
Kale.
on Messenger.
All right, cool.
Kale's phone died. If Kale is still there, are you guys going to be doing anything before Knoxville Nationals? Like, is it is it only a Knoxville Nationals only deal, or can we see you in a car sooner than that? That's what I'd like to know. That's exciting
all right,
news.
so-
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, it's badass. Cool all the way around. See him back at Knoxville because he's been there. He's driven that place a few times. So, no, listen. Chase Dietz dominated this race. Justin Whittall had a really good night. Ryan. So here's how this laid out: Chase Dietz, Justin Whittall, Ryan Newton, and a half, like 3/4 of a lap. It was those three. Now that I can't say that like Whittall and Newton were right on his tail tank. Chase Dietz dominated this race, but Whittall and Newton separated themselves from the rest of this field. Ryan Smith, Troy, Logan Wagner were all in the same ballpark, and then you had everybody else. It was like the top three, those next three, and then everybody else. And the track slowed down a lot from during time trials. There was only 14 cars, and it slowed down a ton from lap car number 1 to car number 14. I know Troy left; they weren't really thrilled with how it went. I think Justin Whittall showed a lot of speed. He was aggressive. That car had a great attitude. But it was cool to go and do the photography deal at Bedford. I've always wanted to. The perspectives and the angles, and it definitely was everything I hoped it would be. And the guys were definitely flexing the cars. And Bedford's pretty cool. Like it gives you all those old school vibes. Like when we go to a Port Royal and a Williams Grove and a Lincoln and a BAPS, and there's been investments been made in the racetracks and in different ways, but they hold big events, and they can show out a little bit, right? Like Lincoln has the podium thing there where they do events outside of turn 4, and then they have those kind of like those suites in one, and BAPS has gotten suites on both ends of the racetrack, and we know Williams Grove and Port Royal have these things. This is none of that. Bedford is
Right.
none of that stuff. It has a very grassroots, your neighborhood racetrack feel. There's a pond in turn 1 with like shit growing out of it, and there's people in the backstretch. Looks like they're just like made these like makeshift like scaffolding to climb on, and like it just has this vibe to it of like, I don't know, man, like Cracker Barrel gravy, and chicken gravy and chicken steaks or something, like chicken fried steaks or something. Like it just has that vibe, man. And then there was Crown Vics, and there was a full field of Crown Vics.
Shout out Goggles Paisano.
Goggles Paisano, brother. Like Chase Dietz just dominated this race, though. Not much else to say.
Not much else to say. It's disappointing to see the car count that was there. You would hope, not necessarily you don't need 30 cars, but you would hope a full field, 22 to 24 cars, I think is.
Kale's phone died. Oh, God. I just read it.
Kale's phone died. And then he said, answering my question of, is he going to be in that car before Knoxville Nationals? He says, as of now, no, but I'll be hopping and stuff before Knoxville. Thanks for the fun, guys. See ya.
Nice.
So, thank you,
cool.
Kale. That was fun. I'm glad to hear it. That's good. That's good news to hear. Matt Trey says, perspective and inevitable, I believe, are the two most used words on the show.
Facts. We're still live, but Kale just came on and said he got a ride for Knoxville. And he was trying to have us guess what car was for Knoxville. Yeah. So, yeah. So I've talked about it maybe on here before, but during COVID, Kale was here in Pennsylvania driving for John Trone. And when COVID hit and they did the iRacing Invitational, and Kale Thomas was in that iRacing Invitational racing against like sprint car people and Ron Capps and, all these people, Kale did the Invitational from my house in my racing rig. No, it didn't look like this. I was new at it, but So I invited Kale to my house, and he met my kids and hung out. So, I've known Kale for a few years in his journey through this deal. So my wife just came in, she just got home. So I was telling her that we were talking about Kale. His phone died in the middle of it, and I believe his girlfriend was now answering, or he was answering on her phone. Yeah, it's been a ride here the last 20 minutes that we haven't talked about anything that's happened here, which is fine because listen, we're newsbreakers here. We're real journalists.
Breaking the news.
T2T.
We broke the news.
Real journalism happening. That's what we do here. So
again, oh wait, I got to go back up. It was up. This Crown Vic feature had 29 cars, but it's all about Goggles Paisano. Debut of Goggles Paisano out of Stoystown. I don't know who this guy is, but he finished 12th in this. Shout out Goggles Paisano. Might know him.
I heard this name, and the car had a very Flintstones vibe. It didn't have a front bumper on it. So Jimmy, the background. Do you know the background of the name Goggles Paisano and what it is?
It's from the Flintstones. It's from
the Flintstones when they did like an Indianapolis 500 episode or something, and the driver's name was Goggles Paisano. And I have video of Goggles Paisano signing in at registration and signing the W-9 in as Goggles Paisano. I have the video.
It's great.
And then I have
he said he was going to do it when he got the ride, and then he used it.
And he did it. I couldn't believe it. And then I have a picture of Goggles standing with two girls at the national anthem. I mean, he had an entourage, he had the name, and he had the Crown Vic. It's all you could ask for.
And then when we were at Eldora on Wednesday, I bought goggles, and I gave him the goggles, and then he had the goggles. So he was full Goggles Paisano. It was great.
All in. The Stoystown.
I'm looking at some of these other names, though, and it starts to make me question, like, do people actually use their real name? Or, like, there's
Brandon
Dick
Giordano.
Yeah. There's a lot of Blizzards from West Virginia. I guess I don't know.
I think it's family.
There's a Sky Blizzard.
I actually thought the whole field was family. I thought the whole Crown Vic field was related. They may have been spinoffs. Because Stoystown, I mean, it ain't far from there.
No.
There was a few people from Stoystown.
Yeah.
There's one. There's another one.
Brady Shable.
Braxton Beckett. His middle name better have a B in it.
Yeah, better be. Triple B. All right. That's enough Crown Vic talk.
Okay.
Let's shout out Goggles Paisano. Any other closing thoughts from Bedford before we move on here? We're almost 2 hours already.
No, no other thoughts, man. I don't know. I don't know the solution. I just know the problem. I understand what the Posse series did here. I know the intention. I know the spirit of it, but it won't work unless the drivers support it. End of sentence.
Right.
They won't. They won't want to pay the sanctioning fee. They won't want to pay the $600 to start, $6,000 to win. It got so bad, Jimmy. If you go back to the 410 finish, okay, can you go back to it and then scroll down? AJ Barton. That's a 305. And he pulled in right before motor heat because he lives in Bedford. He found out and heard that there was only 13 cars and said, 600 to start. Load it up, boys. We're heading down the street. And pulled in his 305 and then proceeded to go out there and actually in the feature was running in front of a couple cars.
That's wild.
Yeah. It was pretty rough. So I don't know what to say. Like I said, I don't have a solution to the problem here, but we can always obviously all see the problem. I wish it was a different way, but I don't know, man. Tough deal, but congrats to Chase Dietz. Stayed on a roll before he headed out west.
Real quick, Brittany Perigo, what's going on, Britt? Goggles Paisano has two nephews named Bam Bam and Dino, and then it's funny because Troy Savage, for instance, isn't he a stepdaddy? Never mind. I'm not gonna go there. There's some lore there at Eldora Campground where Brett Perigo might be a stepdad now. Anyway, never mind. We're
Oh my God.
Lincoln, night before, a Raymer won, but not Freddie. Brandon Raymer getting the win over Freddie, over his brother Freddie, and Matt Campbell. Jordan Strickler finishing P4 here. Jude Siegel, Bree Hershey, Kyle Moody, Chad Trout, Jordan Givler, and Lucas Wolf finishing top 10 here at Lincoln last Saturday night. Brandon getting the win over his brother. What'd you see from this one?
Handicapping for the win is what I saw from this one. Brandon Raymer started 10th. Freddie started 9th, and Brandon won the race. That's it. Now, Freddie was the fastest car at the end. Another lap, Freddie probably wins this race, but I don't give a shit. This was fun. This was entertaining. Jordan Strickler led laps. Bree Hershey had a hell of a run. Jude Siegel battled his ass off. Matt Campbell passed cars. This was fun. This was entertaining. I do not care as a fan. I want to see race cars pass race cars. And this provides race cars passing race cars. Period. End of sentence. I don't care that there were no big names at this race, quote unquote. This was still entertaining. If you were at this race and you left and felt a letdown, is because your favorite driver wasn't there. If you left this race, felt a letdown, and you thought the race wasn't any good, you're blind. You don't know what you're watching anymore. You're uneducated. You don't know what a good race looks like anymore because of Raymer won, maybe. This was fun. This was entertaining. This had passing. This had it all night long. I don't know what else you could ask for. Handicapping can create new stars. Handicapping can allow guys to run up front at the speed and realize what they need to do, not just be bottled up in dirty air all the time. This was fun. This was entertaining. Brandon Raymer gets the win. 5th career win, all at Lincoln Speedway.
That's crazy. Yeah, I was very surprised to hear. Not surprised because Brandon's like been good for like a win a year at least. He's been competitive at times. But when I saw Raymer won at Lincoln on a night like that night, where there's 21 cars and it's just a regular show, you would think it's Freddie, no brainer. But Brandon getting the win here. Shout out to him. That's awesome. Yeah, and the handicapping thing definitely helps put on some good shows for sure, especially in a sense like this.
The good cars will find their way to the front in 30 laps at Lincoln Speedway. Period. End of sentence. If your car's right and you're a good car, you will find your way to the front in these features. I don't care. Don't give me this. I got a time trial to start up front because everybody's equal. It's not equal. We see it all the time in handicap shows. These guys bitch and moan all they want when they have to start 12th, but guess what? They still end up at the front. They did their jobs. Go do your job. Show up and support these races because they're still paying out money. You're not racing for points, sure. You want to go race? Do we want to be in front of your fans? Or do we want to stand on a pedestal and say, oh, we're too good for handicapping? Get out of town, man. I'm tired of the bullshit with that. Go race. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll get off my. It's not my. I don't own a race car, so I'm talking out of my ass in this way. But this is good racing. This is fun. This is what I grew up watching. I watched the best of the best do it. They didn't avoid it. They didn't take weeks off because it was a handicap show. This is what they went and did at Williams Grove, at Lincoln. We've turned this into a time trial deal. Why? To try to get these drivers and teams there. Why? Because at some point they got enough resources they could go travel and go do other things because they didn't want to deal with handicapping. Well, guess what? It puts on a show for the fans. We're the ones paying the bills to see it. If we don't go, guess what? You don't have race cars because you don't have anywhere to race. As fans, right? We're paying the ticket. Doesn't it all kind of have to work together a little bit? Isn't there some give and take a little? You want us to show up, put on some good shows. Watching the best 6 cars line up in the top 6 and not do anything until you hit lap traffic isn't racing. That's just 6 fast cars going and hoping someone makes a mistake. This was racing to the front. Who got there first? Who's going to get there? Maybe nobody. And Jordan Strickler picks up his first career win. The yellow don't come out. I don't know. Maybe he does. because it all lined him up, and that's when Brandon got by him in a hurry. Jordan Strickler led every lap of this race till the yellow came out. I don't know what happens if it stays green, but I know he got ate up after that. After the yellow, Brandon made quick work of him, but he still hung on for a fourth place finish here. We don't know what would have happened. What an upset that would have been. That would have been the biggest upset of the weekend. Not Bryce Lucius. Jordan Strickler. And I hope Jordan Strickler has been gloating to Brett Strickler all damn week.
Who also, I saw Brett Strickler out. It was out at Eldora. He was camped 20 yards away from me.
Matt, you can't say the word inevitable.
Inevitable that handicap race is superior than time trials, says Matt Trace.
And then use the word. You kind of was like picking fun at the word, and then you use the word. I don't think that's how that works, Matt. Sheesh.
Caleb Hertzler. I'm at the point where I'm seeking out handicap shows over time trials. I'm not going to be the downer here, but I don't think many fans saw this. Right? I mean, let's be real.
They didn't, but I'm telling you,
pictures of the stands. It was pretty bleak.
But it was going to be. It is every year. It doesn't matter. Right. I don't think to me that doesn't tell the story. Like,
no, I don't think so either. I don't think the racing is the reason why people didn't show up. You know what I mean? It's part of how it goes.
It's that time of the year. It's one of those races. Yeah. It was a dud. It is what it is from a fan's perspective. But I was there. I watched it, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. It was fun. Even if Freddie got this win on the last lap off of turn 4, I still would have been still, that was pretty damn cool. Watching him try to track him down and run and battle through the field. Like the bottom was really good. Jude Siegel put on a hell of a battle with Freddie. You know, like I enjoyed the hell out of this. It was fun.
Well, it sounds like it was a good race. Good for Brandon Raymer getting a win here. Keep it moving here. Go back to the night before that, Clinton County. This was also a PA Posse Series race where Danny Dietrich gets back in the victory lane at Clinton County, of all places. The last place I expected to see him at, to be honest, was Clinton County. He gets to win here over Chase Deese, Justin Whittle, Troy Wagaman, Ryan Newton, Freddie Raymer, Logan Rumsey, Mike Thompson, Lucas Wolf, and JT Ferry with the top 10. You were there for this one as well. Danny Dietrich getting the win.
Yeah. It was one of those nights where, like, you can only kind of like same thing here again. 2020, your vision and armchair quarterback, Monday morning quarterback, whatever you want to call it. But this had that vibe from the start that Danny was on a mission, and maybe that was because the car was good and he felt confident. But like from hot laps to time trials to the heat to the feature, that thing was on kill from the start, and he was driving the shit out of it. Like he had enough grip and the setup and whatever was in that thing that he could visibly drive that car really, really hard all night long. And he was never been there. Chase had never been there. They'd never ran a race there, either of them, ever. They never even seen the place. Danny admittedly got out of the car in victory lane and said, "My brother's been here. My brother's won races, and I've never even watched his videos from winning here." Never even watched. He said, "I've never even watched a lap of it from his in-car or anything." Chase was like, I was watching all Billy's videos, doing my homework and trying to like, what's this place like and what works and what doesn't. Like two different approaches. They ran 1-2. A good race car and a guy who knows how to drive a race car. You can study, you cannot study. These guys are good. They're good at what they do. And Danny was really, really good. There were some moments. I will admit that Chris Frank at one point off of 2, trying to pull off the racetrack was really slow, and everybody was trying to get off of 2 really, really low, and Danny almost ran him over, and it was almost bad. And nothing Chris did wrong by any means, but that was just a product of they were trying to stay really low off the corner to stay in the grip down the straightaway to get into 3. It was a sketchy moment for sure. It ended up, it was gripped up early again, but it ended up slow, slick around the bottom. I would say, by the end of it, kind of like we're kind of used to. Weather was in the area. They moved this thing along quickly. We had storms when I got there within 2 miles of the racetrack to the north, and as the night went on, we could see storms about 5 miles to the south. And like in Eldora, it just went on both sides of the racetrack. We got a couple drops before hot laps, but they kept this thing moving. To the fact that they ran the 410A main in front of heat races for the front wheel drive cars. They didn't even run the heats for the front wheel drive cars till after the 410A main. They just kept moving it forward, moving it forward. This is what they wanted to get done. They announced during this event that the next one will now pay $7,500 to win. In August, the big one, they announced that they really want to push to get a Speed Week date. They're very vocal about this. And at this point, I think that there's enough drivers with enough positive sentiment that this could happen, and it could happen. The downside is what's it going to replace? It's going to be that last Sunday show, right? So is that last Sunday? They've kind of came out and said it's going to be on a rotation, but this path want to be back in that rotation. Selinsgrove, Clinton County. But here's the thing: even if they want to have that Speed Week show, historically, that last race of the Speed Week has some of the least amount of participation every year. Path Valley did the other year, got some cars, but it wasn't the normal crowd. Selinsgrove would have been lower this year. It wouldn't have been 37 or the 30 average. It really would have been lower. So again, not a prime date, but they want to be a part of it. And Clinton County is pushing for it. So the worst part about this racetrack for me is two things. One, it's really freaking far away. And number two, they have to run mufflers in the middle of nowhere. I will not understand that. They have a curfew and mufflers, and it is in the goddamn middle of nowhere. Like, the closest thing is trees on every direction. I don't understand that part.
There is a town nearby, but it's not that close. It's not like in the middle of town. So,
weirdest shit ever.
Like a
Bloomsburg, I get it.
Port
Royal, I get it.
Because it's on a fairgrounds, maybe.
With no fair going on? Make it make sense to me. You can't.
I'm not sure.
But anyway, no, Danny dominated this race and was thrilled. Obviously, it's been tough. It's been tough. Dominated it, was happy to win this thing. Great interview, great picture in Victory Lane. If you didn't see it on social media, he made Chase Dietz hold up the number 2, and he made Justin Whittle hold up the number 3, and he did the number 1 to make sure when photos were seen that everybody believed and knew. And like he wasn't telling stories that he beat Chase Dietz this year at least once. So it was a funny moment for sure. And it wasn't, Chase, hey, he was happy, good run. It was cool. It was cool for sure.
Going back real quick to Saturday, I forgot Port ran also that same night as a Lincoln. Doug Hammaker got the win at Port Royal over Nash Ely, finishes with a solid P2. Logan Wagner, Jason Schultz, Lance DeWeese, Justin Whittle, Brock Searfoss, Buddy Schweibens, Austin Bishop, and Mikey Thompson were your top 10 in that race over at Port Royal on that Saturday night, the 11th. So another win for Doug Hammaker. That's 2 of them this year, showing some speed at times. He's been pretty solid. He's a name to watch, especially at Port, but he's been pretty good at Williams Grove as well.
Yeah. From all accounts, if this was one of those that like Nash Ely had under control and Doug ran him down and got by him at the end. So go ahead.
Sorry, just comment came through. Mandy says, "You cannot tell me Drums is a real town of PA." I am from Drums. I am from the same town. Yes, we've been there. But
bury me in Drums.
My hometown is Hazleton, but Drums is right outside of Hazleton. That's where I moved to. I lived a lot of my life at. Drums is very much a real place. JT's just from down the road of where I grew up at. So, yes, it's very much a real place. Bury me in Drums.
We played a softball tournament in Drums.
We played a softball tournament there, yep.
Well, we participated. We didn't do a lot of play. I mean, a couple of us did okay for the day, but it was pretty embarrassing. It It was bad, but I've been to drums. It's a real thing. It actually
It's a
has a
very real
sign.
place.
It actually is like a sign and everything.
Yeah.
It's a real place. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is a real place. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but when I saw that, I'm like, don't tell me the place I grew up don't exist. But yeah. Oh, Matt Trace says he was at American Flat Track at the Grove that Saturday. That was badass. It looked good. I saw some replays. It looked like it was a pretty good finish in that one division. Good for Williams Grove. Looked like they had a pretty good deal going on there.
You know what's not real, Jimmy? Let me
What?
tell you what's not real. Mandy's burner X account. That's not a
Definitely
real
not
thing.
real.
It's
It's
an
not a
inanimate
real thing.
object. Just saying.
It's not real. It's just some AI account. All right. That wraps up the recap of racing.
This was fun. Thanks for being here, brother. I was sketchy on tonight. A week off did me good for this. I'm glad we were back tonight. This was a good time.
Real quick, let's talk about what's coming up this week, because there's a lot of racing coming up. All this circus of these national guys going to be rolling in the town here starting this week. Now, tomorrow night, let me go to the high limit schedule. Tomorrow night, it will be the Don Martin Silver Cup at Lernerville, weather pending. It looks like it's going to be pretty nasty tomorrow, so hopefully everybody stays safe and hopefully it all misses. But that's where high limit is scheduled to be tomorrow night. And then Thursday, they go to Ransomville Speedway right up in New York. And then they'll go to State Line Speedway on Friday. Then it is Port Royal for Saturday and Sunday, which Sunday will be the makeup for the Bob Weikert Memorial. And then actually Saturday now has become the Hodnet Memorial race makeup from Speed Week. So 2 makeup races here under the high limit sanctioning here at Port Royal, getting capped off with $100,000 to win here on a Sunday here at Port Royal here in Central PA. So there's going to be a lot of cars coming in for that, I hope. Also, here locally, Lincoln is running a regular show on Wednesday. It sounds like it's supposed to be handicap, but I think maybe it was Tyler Murray kind of hinting at it is for now. So I don't know if that's going to mean it's going to change. But 410 and 358 sprint cars will be at Lincoln on Wednesday night. Weather looks good right now. $25 to get in. It's the Bob Libby Memorial. New York County Racing Club night as well. Gates open at 5. Racing starts at 7. So if you want to see some good midweek racing, head on over to Lincoln Speedway. Williams Grove will also be running Friday night. How about the Ollie's Bargain Outlet Beer Hill Bash? This is the first one. It's fan appreciation night, World of Outlaw tune-up, Beer Hill Bash. They're going to be giving out quite a bit of things, I think, to fans and teams, and you can go to the front stretch pits between 5:30 and 6:15 p.m., meet your favorite drivers, and it will be time trials. It'll be a warm-up event for the World of Outlaws, as that they will be coming into town here soon for the Summer Nationals next weekend. So that'll be Friday night. And like we already talked about, Port Royal Saturday, Greg Hodneck Classic. Also with the Wingless Sportsman, there might not be a track left for Sunday if Brett Perigo wins the Sportsman race on Saturday night, because we might burn it down. Just saying. I'm just letting you know, giving you fair warning. But that'll be high limit on Saturday. And like we said, the Weikert Memorial makeup, $100,000 to win. Everybody's tickets from earlier this year will get carried over. Very, very excited for this one. Been waiting for it. This is our, this usually kicks off our big, the big time of the big part of the season, I guess you could say, kicks off the summer. But with Memorial Day, that whole week getting rained out, we're making it up here with this new high limit date, Saturday and Sunday. And we'll have $100,000 that we're going to give out next Sunday. How about it? It's a lot of racing here. It's it's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah, I've lost track a little bit on what's going on. I just know where I'm going to be Sunday. unless the world has other ideas. I know where I'm going to be Sunday. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Um,
Sunday.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'll be at Port all weekend. I got camping spots for Port, so I'd like to get the Grove on Friday. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I'd definitely be at Port at least very much Saturday and Sunday. I'll be watching Lincoln for sure on Wednesday night. We'll see what happens tomorrow night. Lots of racing, pretty much racing from tomorrow night on. You could be catching it. And then the Outlaws also tomorrow night and Wednesday. They'll be up at Rescheduled Speedway up in Ontario, and then next weekend they come down to Weed Sport for 2 races Saturday and Sunday. So High Limit and and the Outlaws are going to be in the same area running Saturday and Sunday, kind of right against each other. And then the week after that, which we'll talk about this obviously a lot more next week, but you got the Brookers Bash at BAPS that following Wednesday, and then obviously the Summer Nationals Friday and Saturday next weekend. We'll be talking about that more next week, but I'm very excited for Port. Um, I feel bad for Port because it's kind of come to this that they have to run this race where it's not going to be anywhere near the level, unfortunately, of what you would have if it was just on its normal weekend. But I still think it's going to be a pretty good weekend if the weather stays true. I think you'll still see a lot of people come in for it. We'll see what happens, but I'm excited for it. If I have to pick a favorite, I'm going Rico. I think Rico's going to be pissed. He ran really well at Eldora, and I could see him, big money race, way he's been running. He runs well at Port Royal. And maybe it's still going to be probably a good car count of at least 40 some cars, but it's not going to be the same as normal Weikert, I wouldn't think. So we'll see. But
I don't
my
know.
favorite.
I don't know if you were going to have as many people take freebies for Weikert. A couple, maybe. So you're gonna have none now. So who else wouldn't be here that would have then? I don't think it changes a whole lot. Mine is maybe a car or two, like maybe.
Yeah, I mean a couple.
Right. So, but for the Weikert win, it's going to be Troy Wagaman Jr. So then he can buy us dinner because he can then afford it. He's going to all the good pub we've given him. He can go buy you and I dinner. So,
well, maybe he wins. I would love to see him win Sunday. That'd be great.
Yeah,
but maybe
Sunday.
he wins Saturday. Yeah.
We won't get dinner for Saturday's win. He hasn't won a big one yet this year, so I'll take Wagman for Sunday. We got to keep the money in Pennsylvania somehow.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, obviously Dietz and Macri, there's Daniel Lee saying like Dietz and Macri, they're going to be the guys that are favorite from us here. Danny always seems to find some magic when he runs the 29 Weikert car for this event. I mean, obviously 1 or 2 years ago. So,
buddy, and I'm going to tell you a couple names. Brent Marks, he's won a race or two at Port Royal, and he's good right now.
Yeah.
And Brock Zierfoss, that 17 GP can time trial sometimes. He has experience at Port Royal. He knows what he wants to feel at Port Royal. Don't be surprised if Brock is a name that we're going to call a little bit over the 2 days. I got a feeling. But
we'll see. Like there's a couple guys like a Ryan Timms or something that might have came out for the last one. Maybe like a Brian Brown, and they're 2 winners of big ones at Port. I don't know if they come out for this. I would love to see them too. They're already Ryan Timms went back to Knoxville, so no. But that's what I was kind of saying. Like I think you see a couple cars that maybe would have came out the first time around, not here. But Macri off. I mean, can you imagine that in about a 8-day span winning $300,000 at 2 races?
No, I can't.
For Anthony Macri, that could be crazy. He's definitely going to be one of the favorites for sure. I am not high, Santos. Thank you. I just because I'm saying Rico, I don't know. I just
and the
think,
other we talked about it before. We talked about it back then. The 26, Justin Peck. If that car times, he's a guy to watch. I don't know.
It is a different format. They have the invert and everything, so it is a special format. And I think they invert 8, and then they do everything's lined up by points. So you have points for time trials. They invert 8 for the either 6 or 8, depending on car count. I think for the heats, and then depending on where you finish for there. So that's how it lines everything up.
So if it's inverted 8 and everything's points, do any finishing positions in the heat transfer to the A automatically?
I believe so. It's ASCS format. So depending on where you start and where you finish, is how many points you get. The ASCS passing the point system that they have for
like having points and then automatic transfers to the A are weird to me. Like either do points or don't. Because if you're going to invert 8, is it really worth timing great?
Well, yeah, because if you go from 8th just to 4th, you're scoring more than a guy who started on the pole and won the heat.
You're absolutely screwed for timing good. And it's not enough points, and it's not enough points timing good to then run 8th to 6th.
It is.
Right?
It usually is. Good point. Reitzel's another one to watch out for.
For sure.
That 87's been good there.
I didn't want to say it. All right? Listen, Troy, Todd, I didn't want to say Santos. I didn't want to say it.
Son of a bitch. But yeah, with this format, I mean, yeah, you get some surprises in there for sure. But I mean, usually the guy who wins the heat race ends up having the run a B because of how the points are. That's usually how it goes.
Every lap matters.
Every lap matters, man. I love it so much.
I love handicapping the fast guys after they time trialed. Not doing that. This show deserves time trials. This is a big show. Yeah, handicap is handicapping. They're not for big shows. This is a big show.
I don't think they have automatic transfers either, Tyler. I don't. I think it goes by. I think they redraw like the first either 9 or 12, top 9 or top 12 get redrawn. So you get into the top whatever, and then it's a redraw. If I'm just going at the top of what I think.
See that I'm fine with, because if you time trial QuickTime and you go 8th to 6th, and that's outside of a transfer spot, you got penalized.
You're just trying to get yourself into a good
8
spot.
8 to 6 could be enough points to end up in the top 12 for a redraw. That I'm okay with. But if it's top 5 transfer out of the heat and you had to start 8th because you time trialed first, but it's points, that doesn't correlate.
If I remember correctly, it's the top 20 in points go straight to the feature, top whatever, maybe it's 10 or 12, redraw, and then everybody else gets lined up by their points in the C and the B mains, and then the top 4 from the B go. Yeah. If I remember correctly. And like I said, it's ASCS format with the heats. So, you go quick time, you start 8th. If you move up a spot or 2, even if you go to like 5th or 6th, which if you're fast and you're inverting 8, you should at least get there. If you're
you would think, depending on the racetrack, and if it's
you're gonna get way more points than you're gonna get way more points than the guy that started second and won the heat usually. So
yeah,
because the time trial points are worth that much. So it's an interesting format. I like it. I like when these big shows have their special formats like this. It's not something I want to see all the time, but I think it's something that at the end of the day, it makes these guys, when there's a lot of money on the line, they have to get on it for every lap, in the heat race. It puts on some good heat race racing, and but it also gives opportunities for other guys that maybe don't time trial well all the time. It still gives them an opportunity to get in there.
This should be a revenge draw on the front stretch.
Ooh, I would love that.
For $100,000.
That'd be cool.
Revenge draw on the front stretch is what it should be. Right out on the front stretch.
Is Sweet Racing? I don't know. He pulled out of Kings Royal on Friday night, which was disappointing, because he was okay fast. He wasn't like lightning fast or anything, but in the first 2 nights, but he was decent. Yeah, so I don't know if he's racing, but I feel like this would be a race he would. $100,000, his series on a Sunday. And it's crazy that we're gonna, if you don't go to the track for some reason, you're gonna have a choice between that and the Outlaws on a Sunday. It's kind of crazy. Not too far away from each other either. But we'll be at Port Royal for sure. Very excited for this. Yeah. Anything else to think of?
Yeah, there was a comment I was going to make, but I lost it in the middle of that somewhere. Yeah, nope, I don't know.
We are going to go.
Yeah.
We're going to skip Drink It and Dump It. Sorry.
Let's just go. We're out. We're done. That's it.
We're out.
Not this week. Save them.
But listen, Lincoln, Williams Grove, Port Royal this weekend, big races. Get on out there if you can. It looks like it's going to be pretty good weather for the most part. $100,000 on Sunday. If you do come out, let us know. We'll meet up. Will the 69K be back in town? And then they're going to be in Spiegel. I would imagine they would be back for that for Port Royal. Todd, I would imagine. I can't imagine them missing that race for any reason. But excited to see everybody at the track this week. Drink it to you guys as always. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week.